Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. Happy Monday to you all. Prayerfully, you all had a great weekend. Most of the United States was supposed to have some kind of weather event, so prayerfully, you all are safe and warm. Power is on. Hot chocolate is on the stove. All that kind of stuff. Binge watching, whatever fun stuff you and your family are watching. I don't think the kiddos had school today. It's been crazy. Now, of course, here in Georgia, it was a giant nothing burger. It rained a lot yesterday, and there was a lot of ice yesterday, and there was none of it this morning. And so it's just cold. It is really cold outside. Now, that's for sure. But there's nothing. I mean, it was a nothing burger. So shout out. But you know what? I'll take a nothing burger with caution than, going out there and doing the crazy stuff that we like to do. Because here in Georgia, we do mess up a lot. So anyway, shout out to everybody. Hopefully you all are safe and warm. I plan to, I don't know, I heard that there's a lot of bad weather up there in Nashville. So, Candace alluded that if there was bad weather, she wasn't going to stream. I don't know what to do with that. I'll take it if she doesn't. Prayerfully, they're okay up there. But I do have something I'm going to do a little bit different. We've never done this one before. And so we're going to watch a video because I had started to watch it and I really want to watch it. So I'm going to watch it with y'all. I've alluded that I'm kind of like a little nerd and I like talking about, Marvel comics and DC comics, Star Wars and Star Trek, all those franchise type of shows from my childhood, Transformers. I really do like those. So, but I don't talk about it with you all because that's not necessarily what we talk about. So today, I'm going to break my own rule. I'm going to break the Prime Directive. We're going to watch a video about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, which I think is the dumbest show on the planet. In the whole galaxy, I think it's the dumbest thing ever. So it deserves to be mocked. So we're going to watch it. That'll be our palate cleanse. I don't know if your girl is going to go live. I do have some videos about her, so we can do it. So don't worry about it. I got content for sure. But I want to talk about this because if you've been watching this, or I'm sure you probably have heard it if you've been on the internet, everybody's talking about this Starfleet Academy and how terrible of a show it is. It looks like a horrible show. It doesn't look like anything that even remotely looks like Star Trek. So anyway, I'm going to talk about it. I wanted y'all to check it out with me. So hang in there, get your popcorn, get your drinks, all that kind of stuff like that. Throw an extra log on the fire if you're doing that. And do people still do fireplaces? I have a fireplace, but my wife doesn't like fire. So I haven't lit it up, and we've been in this house for almost 16 years. I don't even know if the thing is, it could have squirrels in it. I don't know. Anyway, let's go and let's talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's talk about some Star Trek Academy. Let's go.
Let's go to San Francisco.
Why does she talk like that?
Legendary?
All I asked for was a frickin' rotating chair, okay? Okay.
Put yourself in their shoes for a second.
This is supposed to be the captain of their particular ship. Why is it that this woman walks around with no shoes on? That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, what is going on here?
Well done, number one. Advice.
Okay. Sick as a dog now.
Some dude, a YouTuber.
Friends, nerds, countrymen, and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. Once again, I find myself in familiar territory, having to contemplate the errors of my ways. As you may or may not have heard, everyone's pal Will, the critical drinker, and yours truly have found ourselves embroiled in controversy once again, this time with Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, and this may or may not have partially been brought on by a Spock action figure.
They let the episode go out free on YouTube, and they had barely 1,000 people tune in. Some dude, a YouTuber, live streamed Spock action figure sitting in an empty chair, and it got 3 times more viewers.
It appears my Spock action figure, along with our reviews, has really upset some activist anti-capitalist access media bloggers who largely work for corporate websites that are fully supported by ads. They have accused us of not being real Star Trek fans, and more importantly, they say that Star Trek was never made for us and never has been. Apparently, those of us who have watched Star Trek in some cases for decades have never really understood it. And any criticism of Star Trek Starfleet Academy we have fosters hate and bigotry. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard this before, and I find it quite shocking. So, taking that criticism to heart, and after some deep contemplation, I've decided the Starfleet Academy reviews will continue until morale improves. Previously on Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Next.
I think I swallowed my com badge.
You're fat.
Activism. Love it. Advocating for social change matters.
No, it doesn't. I watch birds.
I like turtles.
Stupid.
Origami chicken. A teachable moment.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Here's an easy one. The name of this cadet.
Moron.
Before we get started, let's keep in mind that Star Trek Starfleet Academy is a darling of the critics on Rotten Tomatoes anyway, where it sits at 88%, which is 4 points higher than Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, and 1 point higher than Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Yet it's a show that is largely made by the same people who made Section 31, which just recently received 5 Razzie nominations, including Worst Picture, Worst Actress, Michelle Yeoh, Worst Screenplay, Greg Sweeney, Worst Director, I can't pronounce his name, and Worst Supporting Actress, Casey Roll. And I'm really not sure what's more embarrassing, a Spock action figure getting more live concurrent viewers than a $10 million episode of Star Trek on YouTube, or a company that continues to pay someone to be a critic who said they like this show. Admittedly, that is the minority, because the vast majority of critics on Rotten Tomatoes who are brought in to pad the system are from websites you've never heard of. And I know Rotten Tomatoes sucks for precisely the reasons I just gave you. Now, if you were thinking that Starfleet Leering Academy just needed to get its legs under it and in future episodes it would improve, you'd be wrong. While Star Trek the original series, that I just call Star Trek, takes place in the 23rd century, and TNG, DS9, and Voyager take place in the 24th century, Starfleet Academy takes place in the 32nd century. That's 1,100 years in the future, where apparently you still use earbuds, but we know these are future earbuds because they have green LEDs, which we actually have now. And apparently everybody just exercises the same way in 1,100 years, except this time we know it's the future because they have an LED jump rope, which they have now. And yes, I know they've done this in cheap previous sci-fi shows and done it a little bit in Star Trek, but gone are the days of the show that inspired things like the iPad. And I have a genuine question. Does Darum, who is a new race of the Cahonians, a humanoid race with 2 forms, a human-looking form and some sort of fish person form, do you need to exercise them differently? Or is he just a mutant? Because Kurtzman wasn't kidding when he said this is X-Men First Class meets Harry Potter meets Star Trek.
X-Men First Class, as well as Harry Potter in general.
Anyway, everybody's off to gym class, where this is the gym teacher.
Show me you're worthy of this uniform.
Pretty rich coming from a lady who barely fits into hers.
Get up! You're not weak,
I'd like to see it do 1 push-up or even complete a 10-yard dash. And it's here I'd like to once again point out the lack of imagination, originality, or even talent when it comes to Kurtzman Trek. One of the biggest criticisms of Jar Jar Abrams' Trek was the excessive use of lens flares, which was Jar Jar Abrams in his own horrible way ripping off Steven Spielberg. Something Jar Jar Abrams himself said became this thing, and it was ridiculous.
There was this idea we had that the future was so bright that it just couldn't be contained. And I overdid it. Then I went further. I realized it was preposterous and I had to pull back.
And here we are almost 17 years later, and Kurtzman's still using them excessively. But it's here during gym class we see the origins of our little conflict between Gryffindor and Slytherin. I'm sorry, Starfleet Academy and the War College. When a Vulcan, who are famous for their hijinks and aggression, throws a ball at Caleb's head, and then Caleb gets squared up on by a midget Romulan who talks just like kids do today. I bet that's gonna lead to trouble, but before we get to that, we find out that another Kurtzman Trek character is gay.
You know, I used to know a guy like that War College bicep back on Pioneer.
My parents didn't think we were a good match.
Which really shouldn't surprise anybody at this point, considering Mike McMahon, the Lower Decks showrunner, said every Starfleet officer is probably at the baseline bisexual, in a way. And wouldn't you know it, the trouble didn't end when the Vulcan, who are famous pranksters, and the rest of the War College beamed the half-naked and naked Starfleet cadets around various parts of the Academy, including the rotund hologram, Sam beaming her underwater, where she is clearly blowing out bubbles when she screams. Now, why would a hologram need to breathe? And on that note, why would a hologram be programmed to be fat or talk with a mush mouth? Don't know. This is followed by the War College cadets taking responsibility for the prank, where that rascally Vulcan said they will continue because they are fun. Something Vulcans, particularly pure blood Vulcans, do not have.
You must learn to exercise control over your own imagination.
Sure, they take satisfaction in things, but no Vulcan would use the word fun. Maybe fascinating.
Fascinating.
Oh, and let's not forget the little Romulan girl flipping the double bird. Then the credits roll, which are dominated by the 21 producers that work on this show. And yes, this episode's premise is we have a wacky prank war on our hands.
We are about to have a prank war on our hands just as the Oversight Committee arrives.
And that's exactly the conversation Laura Thok, the half Jem'Hadar, half Klingon, which shouldn't be possible in Star Trek, but they're rolling with it anyway in Kurtzman Trek, has with Holly Hunter, who looks like she's having a stroke. That's some good thumbnail material.
I can promise you, they shenaned once, they'll shenan again.
And in this conversation, and quite frankly, the rest of the episode, we get a performance from Holly Hunter that will go down in Star Trek history. It will be remembered with the likes of William Shatner's performance in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, or Patrick Stewart's performance in Tapestry, or, dare I say, Avery Brooks' performance in the Pale Moonlight, for all the opposite and wrong reasons. Now, we've already gotten plenty of modern vernacular, and believe me, there is more on the way, and we've already got some cussing, but we need it from the Chancellor.
Lord, this is kid shit. Forgive my language. I'm poor kid shit.
Now, are they getting a little meta there because the writers of this show are sensitive to the criticism of all the foul language that they put in Star Trek where it doesn't belong? Yes, but then they follow it up with this.
They grew up in the burn. I'm not going to crush the life out of them any more than the universe already has.
Now, if you want to know what the burn is, please see my last Starfleet Academy video. But if Kurtzman Trek is trying to make an analogy of kids growing up during a crisis of, say, extenuating circumstances beyond their control like COVID, that's pretty rich coming from a show that has this guy in it.
The vaccine.
Well, it appears the prank war is on and Chancellor Holly Hunter is going to allow it to happen. Later on in herbology class, the kids are upset and they want revenge. And after this unintentionally accurate line,
I took a bath for the first time.
Madam Sprout, Holly Hunter advises that the best strategy to fight back is with botany, specifically by growing the empathy flower, which is in truth an empathy fungus. What exactly makes it a fungus of empathy? I honestly don't know, because the plant just repeats back what you said with a cute little voice.
Empathy.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
And because if that were empathy, then a parrot would be an empathy bird. Maybe this is the Hollywood definition of empathy, which is essentially telling you what you want to hear. But it turns out our sensitive bird-watching Klingon Jay Den has discovered that the War College didn't even come up with that prank on their own. They actually stole it from a previous prank, where we get another line that unintentionally describes Alex Kurtzman.
Then you've already learned your opponent's lack of imagination.
And why is that line applicable? Because Alex Kurtzman is famously, in my opinion, the biggest thief in Hollywood. And if you need proof, well, this is within a scene that rips off from Little Shop of Horrors. And because the writers of the show thought somebody swallowing their comm badge was so funny, they decided to double down on it by having the neurodivergent body positivity hologram try to eat the empathy fungus's growth accelerant. But now it's time for a little training, so it's off to the danger room for Starfleet Academy's version of Quidditch, a truly unique game designed specifically for Star Trek known as laser tag. Now, everybody has assumed that the bird-watching Klingon Jay Den is gay. We get a scene that might insinuate that.
Hello, my name is Jay Den.
Jaden. I'm Kyle.
I'm rooting for you, shippers. No, Actually, I'm not. Speaking of shipping, we get a little romantic scene between Caleb and Brett Cooper, where he is able to easily accomplish something that's really difficult for any woman or man in the WNBA. Hit an easy layup. There's another laser tag competition to find out who will be the captain of the Starfleet Academy team between Darum and Genesis, and in a shocker for Kurtzman Trek, the dude won. Following that, Holly Hunter supposedly tries to talk the Chancellor of the War College out of this prank war. But I think it's time we have a serious conversation about this creative choice to have Holly Hunter spasm all over chairs, davenports, and couches. Now, apparently this was Holly Hunter's creative decision. Her character in the show is over 400 years old, and she believes this is how a over 400-year-old person would sit. It's supposed to show that she is a free spirit. She marches to the beat of her own drum, and her matriarchal power is not bound by the misogynistic, jingoistic, militaristic, patriarchal, and fascist constructs of the old Starfleet and the War College. What it ends up looking like is somebody who's spun out on a cocktail of SSRIs and Adderall. But now it's time for a secret game of laser tag between Slytherin and Gryffindor, after the new Captain Darum challenged Johnny Spocksville, and in a scene set to music that sounded like Daft Punk with Alzheimer's, Slytherin hands Gryffindor an ass whooping, and the only time they win a match is when Genesis takes over, because there's no shortage of girl bossing in Kurtzman Trek, and doing what he should have done from the beginning, Darum, our toxic bisexual male, quits being captain and hands it over to Genesis. Specifically in these laser tag scenes, I would like to take this moment to praise Kurtzman Trek, who has always been a champion of inclusivity and diversity, with their representation of body positivity and neurodivergence in the sentient hologram character of Sam. So of course the kids get in trouble and they get sent to their chancellors, and the Starfleet cadets get chewed out by Holly Hunter in her pajamas.
Are your pajamas covered in little accordions?
They are tiny warp cores. You want to say something cute about us?
And it's at this point I'd like to highlight what Kurtzman Trek does to Academy Award winning actresses.
Is anybody listening? I'm sure Chancellor Kelrigan is. Kilo and eyeball. Out!
I guess Michelle Yeoh should have warned her. So throughout the entire episode, Holly Hunter has been trying to spell out specifically what the cadets need to do to get back at the War College by preaching patience and empathy as a strategy. And after randomly walking by some empathy fungus, they finally figure it out. But before we get to that, we get the least surprising revelation of all. Tig Notaro and Laura Thok are a couple, at least until the USS U-Haul shows up, and that was preceded by Tig Notaro giving parental advice, because anybody in this show that has a dad has daddy issues. So once again, through Holly Hunter's speech where she was contorting on a chair, she essentially laid down the plan to get back at the War College, and it was pretty simple. Just make sure the kids randomly walk by an empathy fungus and then figure out you need to be patient and grow them quickly, which would be the opposite of patience, by juicing up the growth accelerant, and then find some space snot to replicate the eyeball of the War College Chancellor. And I know what you're asking now, dear viewer, if you can replicate an eyeball, why are people wearing glasses? And on that note, if you could transfer a consciousness into a robot body, why are people in wheelchairs or deaf? Anyway, they replicate the eyeball so they can get past the biometric security of the War College and plant the empathy fungus, where it grows uncontrollably and probably kills 9 or 10 students. And the Starfleet Academy cadets are really proud of themselves in a shot that looks like it's straight out of a Pfizer commercial. I think the writers wanted to get across that they were teaching the kids to strategize through the matriarchal lens of patience and empathy over the patriarchal aggressiveness and dominance, when in truth she just taught the kids through the very matriarchal lens to cheat with subtlety. But your guess is as good as mine, because this just ended up being yet another episode with all of the Kurtzman Trek hallmarks. The aforementioned men, the few of them that they are, yielding to women, women correcting men.
Look, kid, any message that you have to chase down does not deserve to be read.
Genesis.
You know what kind of captain sends his team into a slaughter? When I got the red and dirty.
I'd call you naive, but you've got 300 years on me.
They're 50-10.
Clarendon's half for multiple appendix I.
Oh, appendixes.
Under Starfleet Regulation 286.3.
286.4, actually.
Constant over-affirmation, modern vernacular.
I can make myself permeable because... No, this is kid shit. Forgive my language. I'm pro kid shit.
I would love to just have one shower without having to hear about Darren's multiple polycule underwater hookups. Do you find it challenging to be a War College douchebag?
Welcome to the Calicut team.
Sweet, it's an honor.
And Shenand wants they'll shenanigan.
Well done, number one.
Feelings in hallways, feelings in corridors, feelings on basketball courts. It's shot like a commercial. The writing is absurd and the acting is awful, and not a shred of masculinity to be found, but it is unintentionally hilarious. And it's absolutely the Acolyte of Star Trek. Just as the Acolyte was Kathleen Kennedy's Disney Star Wars in its final form, Star Trek Starfleet Academy is Kurtzman Trek in its final form. And tell me if you haven't heard this one before. You take a beloved intellectual property that used to be made for everyone, dumbed it down, vandalized it beyond all recognition, alienating your longtime fans, all in the search for the mythical modern audience, which they found. Unfortunately, that's the other commonality with the Acolyte, who did find a very passionate audience with numbers big enough to get it canceled. And while the new head of Paramount, David Ellison, is desperately trying to buy Warner Brothers, I don't think letting Starfleet Academy see the light of day is helping his cause. And let's not forget, there wouldn't have been Jar Jar Trek, which spawned Kurtzman Trek, without David Ellison's Skydance. But ultimately, the two biggest problems with Kurtzman Trek are the algorithmic product placement of the message and continuing to make Star Trek something it isn't. It isn't the X-Men, it's not Harry Potter, it's not the OC or 90210, and it's not Buffy. What Star Trek needs to be is something Alex Kurtzman and his team of repurposers are completely incapable of making. Star Trek. Watching Kurtzman Trek may cause a range of side effects, including but not limited to sudden bouts of nostalgia overload, leading to uncontrollable urges to rewatch the original series while muttering, "This isn't my Trek," mild to severe plot hole-induced headaches, excessive eye-rolling from over-the-top emotional monologues, potentially resulting in strained ocular muscles, lens flare sensitivity, making everyday sunlight feel like a directorial assault, contrivance whiplash, which may result in decapitation, increased sarcasm levels, turning casual viewers into full-time YouTube critics. In not-so-rare cases, it causes vomiting, diarrhea, and thoughts of suicide. If you experience persistent disillusionment lasting more than 4 episodes, discontinue viewing and consult a classic Trek marathon immediately. Ask your doctor if Kurtzman Trek is right for you. Spoiler, it isn't.
Nerderotic.com.
All right, shout out for sure.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe.
I appreciate you, Gary. Thank you, sir. All right. I just want to start off. I just want to clear the palate, get us all on the same page. We got 287 people already up in the best live chat on the internet. Hit the like button. Jump up in here. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you change that as well. Somebody mentioned it, and I don't remember who. I really like Gary. I really do. I think he is a smart guy. I really like I like the way he says it. He says things just in a fantastic way, and I think it's extremely comical. So shout out to Gary for sure. Okay, somebody mentioned it, and I can't find it. They said, had you seen this content creator? Let me pull it up. Let me get the video ready. I had it ready to play, and I was like, I can't believe somebody called me out on it. Okay, it's HG Tudor. Knowing the Narcissist. I ran into this today. I really think somebody emailed it to me. If you did, shout out to you. If you didn't, shout out to you anyway. All right. I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you have it. I thought it was fantastic because it really, now it's on the same vein as Gary. He just talks. He talks for 15 minutes straight. There's there's not a lot of breathing in here at all. So you really gotta buckle in. But I believe he does a great job of explaining Candace in a way that everybody can appreciate. So I don't see at the current moment that she has a show scheduled. Oh, here it is right here. I don't see that she has a show scheduled. And if that be the case, I do have a couple videos we can go over today. We don't have to be super long, but it doesn't look like she hasn't announced the show. So in the meantime and in between time, I appreciate y'all. Yeah, apparently this gentleman is a narcissist himself, and he just diagnoses her. He makes a great case. I really think, why are we catching this weird Star Trek stuff? Hey, I just wanted to, Daniel, we just need to get ourselves ramped up. We need to get onto the on-ramp of craziness, which is Candaspiracy. So I figured this would be the best way to kind of get ourselves up to speed. Just do something different. I just wanted and by the way, I was watching the video before we started, and I said I wanted to finish it, so I said I'd watch with y'all. All right. What did you say? Nashville is in a deep freeze. Okay, maybe that's why she's not doing a show. You know, praying everything is safe up there, man. It's pretty. I mean, there've been some places where it's been pretty wild. Thankfully, here in Georgia, it's not been bad at all. Well, here where I live, nothing at all. It's a nothing burger. So needless to say, my second born is mad that she's not at school. That's crazy work, right? All right, let's bring this in, everybody. All right, this is, and I dropped the link in the chat, did I not? Okay, here is HG Tudor, and And let's bring it in. Let's see what y'all think about it. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. HG Tutor. There it is. It's pretty dramatic, though. That's some dramatic sound effects right there. I approve of that. Make sure you subscribe.
Candace Owens. Conclusion. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Candace Owens is a polarizing figure. To some, she is a seeker of the truth, a warrior who will not be swayed from her mission to get to the nub of what's going on in the world, a desire to expose those who've got something to hide, to drag the hypocrites into the light, to allow people to see their shameful behaviors. For others, she's regarded as a conspiracy theory peddler, a deluded individual who appoints herself as arbiter of the truth and comes out with outrageous observations and theories based upon no evidence, or that she joins the evidence together in a way which twists and convolutes it in a manner which doesn't bear up to scrutiny. There are those that liken her to an individual that goes around a neighborhood smashing the windows and then offering to replace them. She's been involved in various spats and fallouts with other individuals. Whatever your position in relation to Candace Owens, you are, of course, entitled to take it. You may well regard her in a supportive way, believing what she has to tell you. You may find her lacking credibility and dislike the way that she conducts herself. At the end of the day, that is a choice you can make. But this is about making a determination as to whether she is an empath, a normal, a narcissistic person, or a narcissist. It's highly likely that whatever the outcome is, given her polarizing nature, there'll be some will be dissatisfied with it. For if she's determined to be an empath, those that regard her as a peddler of conspiracy theories will undoubtedly take issue with that. If she's found to be a narcissist, those that think that she does a good thing with her exposures will undoubtedly take an issue with that. But I raised this issue at the outset of the video to remind you that this is not an analysis of whether Candace Owens is a good or bad person. You can make that determination based upon your own thoughts. It's simply about what categorization of person she is. And if she's determined to be an empath, you can still think that she's a bad person because of the way that she conducts herself, because it doesn't accord with your own views. Similarly, if she's found to be a narcissist, that doesn't mean that you then have to think that she's a bad person, because a narcissist can do good things. Take the glorious narrator, for example. I remind people of this because it has been evident in the comments that certain individuals have completely lost sight of the purpose of these analyses, which are undertaken on an objective basis, looking at a wide range of evidence to make a determination. Now, Candace Owens is a provocative conservative commentator, podcaster, and activist, and she's risen to prominence through her unyielding critiques of liberal ideologies, identity politics, and cultural norms. As you know, she was born in 1989 in White Plains, New York, and raised in Stamford, Connecticut. Her journey from a liberal-leaning entrepreneur to a right-wing firebrand has been marked by controversy, rapid ideological shifts, and high-profile feuds. I've looked at her life history, her behaviors, her relationships, and public statements to demonstrate what she exhibits. As you know, my framework evaluates individuals across categories of empath, driven by emotional empathy and empathic traits. Normal, principled, still with empathic and narcissistic traits, and also emotional empathy. Narcissistic, essentially selfish, self-absorbed individuals with low emotional empathy without the full pathology of narcissism, or a narcissist, an individual that has a pursuit of the prime aims governed by an innate need for control, the necessity of the requirement of fuel, an absence of emotional empathy, and a reliance upon manipulative behaviors, amongst other factors. In order to make this determination, of course, we have to look at sustained patterns over time. One of the most compelling indicators in relation to Candace Owens is her pervasive grandiosity. This is where she perceives herself as superior, visionary, even divinely ordained, often independent of factual validation. Throughout her career, Owens has positioned herself as an unparalleled truth seeker, battling shadow elites. In a January 2025 X post, she claimed a state-level DDoS attack from France targeted her website ahead of her documentary Becoming Bridget, framing her work as so threatening that nations conspire against her. This echoed a November...
Does anybody remember that? I forgot about that. She did say that France attacked her website where she was about to drop the Becoming Brigitte. I forgot all about that. But France attacked her website. France sent assassins. I mean, France is suing her. I mean, she is kind of grandiose, man. She's got grandiose on lockdown in a chokehold for sure. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. We're just getting ourselves warmed up. Candace hasn't announced a show as of yet. I'm starting to think that she probably isn't. Some people are reporting that weather is pretty bad up there in Nashville. So she might not even do a show today. I don't know. If there's a lot of snow and all that kind of stuff like that, ice and the such. So we're just kind of warming ourselves up. I also have another great video we're going to look at in this kind of wrap today. So, no, France was, she's got her, she picks like who's picking on her today. Is it Israel or is it France? But I did remember that. She said that there was a denial of server attack on her server from France, which was crazy work. All right, let's jump back in. Let's go.
2025 post, where she asserted that every news trend is about me or Tucker Carlson, attributing it to someone in the shadows panicking and declaring it God time, implying divine endorsement for her investigations into Charlie Kirk's death. Such behavior is indicative of magical thinking and illusions of grandeur, whereby she elevates herself to a heroic figure exposing global cabals. Similarly, in February 2025, she predicted a geopolitical shift towards Russia post-boomer generation, casting herself as a prophetic historian reshaping world views. These repeated instances, spanning social media, podcasts, and interviews, demonstrate a mindset where Owens sees herself as intellectually and morally superior, whereby she harnesses controversy in order to assert control over the audience and to draw fuel from the outrage that follows. This grandiosity intertwines with entitlement, which is evident in Owens' disregard for boundaries, contracts, and consequences. Her 2017 doxing of a former police officer critic, April Haley, via her social autopsy platform, led to threats against Haley. Owens blocked warnings, falsely accused Haley of drug addiction, and spread lies, showing a willingness to override others' safety for personal vindication. In her mid-20s, she rented a Manhattan apartment but refused payment for 6 months, claiming toxic mold and threatened to sue the landlord, which is an entitlement to exploit situations without accountability. Amidst her 2024 fallout with Daily Wire, Owens declared she no longer honours contracts that permit evil, threatening to leak communications and coordinating with critics like Andrew Tate. When denied an Australian visa...
Okay, I might need to go back and dig in. When she left Daily Wire, she reported that she no longer honors contracts. That's crazy work. If she said that, then that makes perfect sense for why she would go against her contract. A contract that she knew existed since 2019, she went against a contract with Turning Point USA. That makes perfect sense. I got to find this clip where she said she no longer honors contracts, which is wild, by the way. But yeah, like I got to find that because that makes perfect. that's probably why we're here now with the cease and desist letter, and why she doesn't act like she even cares. That's why when the Macron sent her cease and desist and legal letters, she just treated it like it was a note on the schoolyard. And I believe that's because she doesn't care anymore. I don't know how she gets away with it, though, because, you still got that little pesky thing about getting sued, but I digress. Let's go.
In 2024 for anti-Semitic conspiracies, she escalated to the High Court, framing it as viewpoint suppression, and was ordered to pay costs. In November 2025, she urged followers to dox college students in footage, basically accusing them of being undercover agents. These actions reveal a pattern of expecting special treatment, dismissing obligations, and weaponizing audiences, whereby she regards rules as inapplicable to her as a consequence of her superior status. Her interpersonal relationships underscore exploitative tendencies, which is where she utilizes other people in order to control them, to maintain a facade, to draw fuel. For instance, her marriage to George Farmer, a British Conservative, where she met him in December 2018 at a Turning Point UK event, Farmer proposed via FaceTime after just 17 days, with no prior dates or romantic gestures, describing it as divine serendipity and a God thing. They married in August 2019 at Trump Winery, and Farmer portrays Owens as wearing many hats: investigative journalist, mother, Catholic, suggesting compartmentalization, a strategy to shift personas in order to gain control. Farmer admits to a submissive role, fading to give her glory, crediting her with his spiritual revival, which may be codependency or idealization masking power imbalances. Rumours of discord, including Cardi B's 2021 infidelity allegations, dismissed but unproven, and family tensions, Farmer's mother has Jewish roots amid Owens' anti-Semitism, hint at strain, with 2024 marked as their toughest year. Beyond marriage, Owens' professional alliances reveal exploitation. She built platforms like Red Pill Black and Blexit Foundation with collaborators like Charlie Kirk and Kanye West, only then to disengage from them when misaligned. After Kirk's 2025 death, she released alleged messages accusing Ben Shapiro and others of sabotage, insinuated Kirk's widow Erica murdered him to cover Zionist infiltration, and monetized the tragedy via super chats, earning $130,000 monthly. This would appear to be exploitation from a colleague's demise, turning betrayal narratives into lucrative content. Similarly, she defended Andrew Tate against 2023 trafficking charges on her podcast, dismissing accusers, and interviewed Harvey Weinstein in 2025, providing a sympathetic platform despite his convictions, exploiting victims' trauma for views. In 2020, she ambushed friend Nicole Arbour on her show by naming Arbour as stalkers against pleas, editing it to claim victory. These patterns demonstrate a repeated absence of emotional empathy, the exploitation of personal relationships for personal gain. Ideological shifts and provocative behaviours abound. Owens pivoted from liberal, criticising Trump's 2016 attributes via Degree 180, to conservative overnight in 2017, blaming progressives for backlash against social autopsy. This is queried as whether it's a genuine awakening or black and white thinking, which of course is a hallmark of the narcissistic absence of a core self, allowing such shifts for control. Her controversies, for instance, defending Kanye's anti-Semitic tweets, peddling Kaiser theory, and alleging Brigitte Macron's transgender identity, leading to a 2025 defamation suit, escalate without retraction, often done to boost rankings. Her defiance post-lawsuit, taunting Brigitte and linking to unrelated conspiracies, exemplifies narcissistic bullishness, framing opposition as a validation of her truth. Philanthropy, via Blexit, is small-scale and tied to political activism, potentially a tool for influence rather than the manifestation of genuine emotional empathy, with no large personal donations from her multi-million-dollar net worth. Cumulatively, across the evidence that I have referenced in the course of the episodes, that I have highlighted again in this summary, and also additional evidence, given that there is so much of it out there that I haven't had opportunity to mention it all, it's evident that there's a grandiosity in her self-perception, that she exhibits black and white thinking, that there is an entitlement that overrides boundaries. There's exploitative behaviours in relation to relationships in order to control and draw fuel. There's provocative manipulations done for attention. Whilst defenders will see her as a resilient truth seeker, and of course, even with these attributes, one might still seek the truth, the sustained evidence over decades reveals an innate drive for control and fuel and an absence of emotional empathy. There is the belief of special treatment and being hallmarked for better treatment and insight compared to other people. Her behaviors exploit chaos for the pursuit of the prime aims, and time and time again, she appoints herself as a specialized arbiter of truth, denoting an attitude of innate superiority and delusion. The behaviors are manifest throughout the evidence on repeated occasions and have taken place over a sustained period of time, as you would imagine. That she, in conducting herself, exhibits a grandiose sense of self-importance. She expects, as a consequence of this almost godlike given power to make determinations, to be recognized as superior. She is preoccupied with this pursuit of the truth, relating to the necessity of success and power. It's clear through the matters that she comments upon and the evidence that supports that she regards herself as special and unique and can only be understood by special or high-status people. She shows a repeated need to gain reactions from people, engaging in the controversial behaviors, exhibiting the requirement for fuel. She expects automatic compliance with what she states, that if you disagree with her, you're simply dismissed, and that she encourages her followers to behave in a particular similar way. She's interpersonally exploitative, and her behavior, in particular evidence in a podcast, shows an arrogance and haughty behaviors, all of which underpin an absence of emotional empathy. Accordingly, as a consequence of the evidence that has been produced, mainly by her, rather than necessarily people talking about her, the finding is that Candace Owens is a narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so shout out to H.G. Tudor. This is my first time seeing this channel, so some people have recommended other videos that he's done. I want to see him first, if you don't mind. So I will be checking out, but we'll tap him in again. Apparently, he's talked a lot about. Looks like he's talked a lot about the Markles and the such of that nature. So I'll definitely probably tap him in again and see what other things he's discussed that'll be beneficial here. So shout out to the best live chat on the internet. We are, Candace has not announced the show. I don't think she's going to do a show today. A lot of people are saying that Nashville got hit pretty bad with the winter shenanigans going on. Winter shenanigans going on. Somebody's telling me I misspelled party in my... How am I misspelling stuff? What in the world, Jason? All right, I misspelled something in my video title. Get it together, editor Jason. Anyway, I'll fix it. So apparently they're having some pretty bad weather up there in Nashville. So I don't think she's going to do a show today, which would make sense. Perfectly, they're okay up there because I know it's pretty cold here in Georgia, but nothing like a winter mix at all or anything like that. So shout out to the best live chat. Thank y'all so much, everybody who's jumped in on today. I got another one for us if you all are okay with it. It's another video about Candace, but it's talking more about where she came from. Lots of people have asked, like, well, where did she come from? And this channel right here, Black Leaf, put out a great video just kind of breaking down her past. And I thought it was very informative. You always want to take this stuff with a grain of salt and do your own research. However, I think this will give you a lot to research on and a lot to go with your grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? So I will definitely check it out. Real quick, shout out to everybody who's jumped into the best live chat. I appreciate all of y'all. She was already alibiying Thursday that she wouldn't be on Monday. Yes, absolutely. And Nashville was hit hard last I heard, 90% without power yesterday. Yeah, so, prayerfully everything's okay with them. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. So we'll just go ahead and check this video out. I really appreciate each of y'all. Thank you so much for jumping in. I do want to just ask just for a second, how is the audio on the videos that we've watched? We watched the Star Trek video. We watched the HG Tutor video. Could y'all just real quick, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say about the audio? All right, maybe we'll tap in Storybox, please forgive me. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand something with the way she does her show. The audio is horrible. So see, I'm not doing anything to make the audio improve the audio. Nothing. This is straight from YouTube. This is just me sharing the screen. Same thing I usually do with Candace. But some reason or another, her audio always comes through like hot trash. I don't know why. It's something they're doing on their end. I've tried everything on my end, and it's actually messed things up on my side. So I'm going to stop trying. I don't know what to do. If I can, I'll, tomorrow I got to go pick president, chief executive, second born up from school late tomorrow. If I have to, if she goes live, then I'll try to download it and amplify the audio. I'll try to do that. But yeah, I don't know what that is. So anyway, I just want to get that off my chest. Thank y'all for listening to me. This how does Mira say it? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, let me bring this in while I'm sitting here talking. Why don't you have this ready, Jason? I tell you, get your life together, Jason. All right, so again, the mods can drop the link to this channel in the chat too. They don't do a lot of videos, but this one was a really good one. I thought was super informative. So let's go ahead and bring it in. With no further ado, y'all know how we like to do it. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
Candace left college without graduating in 2010 and took a job at Vogue. In 2012, she took a new job at a private equity firm. By 2015, she quit that job to start her own media platform called Degree 180. The goal of the platform was to create, quote, better content for the internet, end quote. Candace would be the company's CEO, and Zoe Weiner, a rising beauty and fashion journalist who had been an intern at Vogue during Candace's time there, would be senior editor-in-chief. Candace wanted to change the way discourse unfolded on the internet. The platform hired writers to publish articles about various topics. Candace wrote articles as well. In 2016, Candace decided to create another platform called Social Autopsy. The proposal for the site was that it would allow users to submit social media posts anonymously. Then employees, schools, and any others who access the site could search the aggregated post by name. If a person were bullying another person under their real name, anyone could submit them to Social Autopsy, where their online messages could be found.
Words are real. People don't assign, there's no humanity behind what they say. They just think it's not real. And that's what technology takes away from children, the fact that it is real. And you would never in a million years say those things.
In March 2016, she spoke about the project. For the last year, I have worked on creating a website, socialautopsy.com, that will stop online bullying by outing the bullies. I create a searchable database of people who spew hate online. I hope it will make people think twice before they exercise their First Amendment rights online as a means to hurt others. Candace started a Kickstarter to raise money for the project and enlisted the help of engineers to begin development. On April 14, 2016, libertarian journalist Kathy Young came across the Kickstarter page and was concerned. Young tweeted about the project, wondering if it was a glorified doxing service. Candace reached out to Young to clarify.
So this is her tweet from back in 2016. Socialautopsy.com, a project against cyberbullying or a doxing platform. And this is an article. I apologize, not the tweet. In the last day, there have been lots of Twitter buzz, none of it good, about the new Kickstarter project, socialautopsy.com, which promises a revolutionary solution to internet trolling and bullying. Some of the buzz comes from me yesterday. After reading the project's description and watching the promotional video, I tweeted asking if this was essentially a doxing service under the pretense of exposing alleged harassers and bullies. I have since deleted the tweet since the new information led me to think that it is somewhat inaccurate and I didn't want to contribute to a panic. All right, so shout out to Kathy Young. All right. Keep an eye on these dates too, by the way. The dates are going to be very important. So we're on April 14th, 2016. That will help you out a lot. Let's go.
Verify that Social Autopsy was not going to be a doxing site. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, doxing is publicly identifying or publishing private information about someone, especially as a form of punishment or revenge. Candace told Young that the first iteration of Social Autopsy would only accept submissions of posts that contain personal information about the poster within the post itself. Social Autopsy would not research posts to uncover the identity of people who could not be identified within a post. Candace also assured Kathy that the platform would not reveal the identity of anonymous submitters. Young quoted Candace as saying this ability could be added in the future and that Owens didn't see a problem with revealing the identity of users that posted threats online. Once Young spoke to Candace and understood the true intention of the platform, she took down her tweet. By that time, it was too late. Before Young had even posted her tweet, others had seen the Kickstarter page and were raising concerns. Unbeknownst to Candace, she had wandered into a confusing, complex debate about anonymity and free speech on the internet. This controversy was called Gamergate. Most say Gamergate began on August 16, 2014, when Aaron Joney posted several blog posts about his ex-partner Zoe Quinn. Quinn is a game developer and activist who created a text-based game called Depression Quest. The game, based on Quinn's own experience with mental health issues, received positive reception from many gaming news outlets. Others in the largely male gaming community were not as enthused. They thought the technological interface of the game, as well as the story writing, were not advanced enough to warrant such critical praise. Aaron's blog post chronicled their relationship, which began on an online dating site and ended when he discovered that Quinn had cheated on him with Quinn's married boss. Screenshots of social media exchanges show Quinn did not know the boss was married when the relationship started, and that Quinn did not want the relationship to go public for fear of how it could be misconstrued. Aaron goes on to say in the blog that he believes Quinn had cheated on him with numerous other people, some of whom also work in the game industry. The post was seized upon by members of the gaming community as an explanation for why Quinn had achieved success so easily in the industry. Though Aaron never directly said it, for many he was implying that Quinn had exchanged sex for personal favors. Quinn was harassed, threatened, doxxed, and swatted. Swatting is the act of creating a host 911 call, typically involving hostages, gunfire, or other acts of extreme violence, with the goal of diverting emergency public safety resources to an unsuspecting person's residence.
But the sadder part for me was going through and seeing all of these institutions that were in name supposed to be the sort of thing that is there to help, completely fumble spectacularly and usually contribute to the problem. I had to deal with too many members of the press just simply reporting on the false accusation that I had, if you actually look at what would have taken this for this to be true, that I had traveled back in time to sleep with a game reviewer that worked for a website I had already written for, so I obviously could not have gotten that connection any other way. Slept with him to get a review of my game that never existed, and the game was also free. And also, why did I set my target for Kotaku and not like the New York Times or something? Whatever. Basically, I'm a time-traveling hoe is more or less what the chief accusation came down to, and is up there with the other accusations about the numerous people that I've supposedly murdered, that I am a treasonous person that should be tried under the Logan Act, which is really funny if you know anything about that, and that I am actually a vampire. There are some people that think I am actually a vampire. It's great.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there because you all are probably processing that like, wait, hold on. Didn't our girl say some of this stuff? You're 100% correct. Candace did say some of these things. The time traveling, says somebody's a vampire. Of course, treasonous acts, throw out random laws that somebody should be arrested under. That's her. And this is back in 2016. This is some crazy. This was crazy when I heard this. I was like, wow. So here how this keeps unpacking. And I also want you to pay attention to the fact that Gamergate may or may not have hit your radar. I know I heard about it, but I didn't know all the ins and outs. I had heard about it, okay? But I just knew that it was something out there. But I was aware of the idea of doxing. I was aware of the idea of trolls and anonymous and 4chan. I was familiar with those. Notice that Candace is going to, and those are pretty almost mainstream terms at that time. Candace is going to say she didn't know anything about these things, but she's running a site that does exactly what those things do. Like, that's crazy work. Like, as if she had come up with this idea of the whole, social autopsy without knowing that there are other things out there that would take advantage of that. Watch what happens.
Phones are more fun. But seeing the fact that so many members of the media would just report on this instead of saying like, oh, she was accused of having sex for reviews, and then not following that up and just spreading the misinformation. It's like, you could finish the sentence and say that the never happened. The never happened part seems kind of important, but what do I know? I'm just a time-traveling vampire hoe.
In the chaos of Gamergate, Zoe Quinn became a prominent online bullying activist and started an organization called Crash Override Network. Quinn also self-identifies as patient zero of Gamergate, the first victim of the harassment the movement would employ against many others. Candace told her story of how she first met Zoe Quinn in a blog post posted on Degree 180 on April 18, 2016. On April 12, 2016, Zoe Quinn sent a direct message on Twitter to the Degree 180 account requesting a good email address for the head of Social Autopsy. Surprisingly, though she was crowdfunding for an online bullying platform, Candace had never heard of Zoe, Gamergate, or even the term doxing.
That's
My
crazy.
idea was big and little at the same time. I wanted to put an end to the era of internet thugging. It is something I've genuinely never understood, how people so recklessly utilize the web to invoke terror upon others. I had examined the correlation between the rising rate of suicides in teenagers over the years and knew that, even if it was never going to be explicitly stated, the age of social media had contributed significantly to its dark rise. I had experienced it myself when I was in high school 10 years earlier. All we had then was Facebook, but the writing was on the wall even then. I was involved in an incident that was labeled a hate crime and exposed as a victim to just how awful the cyber world could be for both the victims and the accused. In an email, Zoe explained past expertise in the anti-bullying activism space and her opposition to social autopsy. She requested a phone call to speak further, and Candace reluctantly agreed. On the phone, Zoe detailed a series of concerns. First, Zoe was concerned that the platform could be used to dox minors. In the week 6, Candace published the creation of Social Autopsy in the Connecticut Press and requested input from several anti-bullying organizations. Candace had never heard this term. Still, Candace explained that phone numbers and addresses would not be included in the database. Only information publicly available on someone's social media profile would be included. She also told Zoe that there were no minors in the database as of that date. Secondly, Zoe told Candace she was concerned that vigilantes would use Social Autopsy to identify bullies and harass them. To this, Candace explained that the search options on the site would not allow users to locate data indiscriminately. Users could only search by first and last name. In other words, they would need to already know who they were looking for. Next, Zoe asked Candace about whether collecting this data was even legal. Candace told Zoe that during research for the platform, they had contacted Facebook's legal team to understand what data could be legally used from the site. From Candace's point of view, all of the issues Zoe was raising had already been addressed.
So, realistically, do you believe that Candace contacted Facebook's legal team to find out if what she was going to do with Social Autopsy was legal? Do you really believe that? Knowing what we know about how she does research now, like, do you really believe that she actually reached out to them to find out if this is something that she could legally do and scrape that data? Like, there's no way I believe that. None whatsoever. It was just her and another person that were running the ship. They were working real jobs. They're young socialites, and she's spending time discussing with the legal department of Facebook. Okay. All right. Okay, if that's what you want me to believe.
But Candace perceived that Zoe was becoming frustrated by Candace's unwillingness to stop the project altogether. She told me she knew those people were not bad people, that she herself had been a part of the online group Anonymous, and that it was really just something they did. She explained that she would never want the people that harassed her listed anywhere, and that she knew the first and last name of some of them, and yet had never reported them. Candace found this information strange. She couldn't understand how someone who claimed to be against online harassment could simultaneously claim that online harassers were not bad people and they didn't want their identities known. Zoe also told Candace that supporters of Gamergate did not like the site and would come after Candace. Zoe wanted Candace to pull the project. After thousands of hours of work and dollars in investment, Candace refused. Candace tried to assure Zoe that despite any issues which may arise, she and the team were confident they would have everything rectified before the site went live. The call allegedly ended with Zoe crying and saying, "By then, it will be too late. It'll ruin everything." About an hour after the call ended, Candace decided to send Zoe a polite follow-up email. She didn't understand why Zoe had reacted so strongly to a project which at that point was simply a splash page and a small Kickstarter campaign. However, she believed that she and Zoe were essentially on the same side. This is when things took a further left turn. Candace claims that about 45 minutes after she sent her follow-up email, the Social Autopsy Kickstarter page was bombarded with hateful, threatening, and negative comments. Before speaking with Zoe, the page had no more than 10 positive comments. Suddenly, there were over 100 negative comments. The Kickstarter private messages were also suddenly receiving spam comments. The names of the senders were clearly fake. My initial suspicion was that Zoe perhaps tipped the gaming community off and they were now coming down on us hard. Candace also received a menacing email to her personal email address. Her email address was also used to sign up for 2 pornography sites. The use of her personal email in these attacks stood out to Candace. She expected that negative messages would come to the Kickstarter account if Zoe had, in fact, tipped off others to bring down the campaign. But there was only one person who had recently been given her personal email address. This person was also against Social Autopsy. In response to Candace's email, Zoe didn't respond directly to anything Candace had written previously. Instead, Zoe alerted Candace that the demo site her team had created had security flaws which were easily exploitable. At this, Candace could not contain her confusion or her anger. The situation continued to spiral out of control. As Candace tried to fight back against rumors that the site was going to be used to dox minors, her detractors were spreading the same rumor to parenting organizations, Kickstarter, and even the FBI. Within 48 hours of being published, the Social Autopsy Kickstarter page was going viral and not in a positive way. Candace contacted Kickstarter to explain what she believed had happened. She shared the email correspondence between her and Zoe. At first, they told her they understood and would keep the Kickstarter up. But eventually, with all the bad publicity, Kickstarter took the campaign down. On April 15th, 2016, online activist Randy Lee Harper.
Okay, I got to stop right here because this is the genesis for Candace becoming a quote unquote conservative. So up to this point, I think it's fair to say she would have said, and everybody would probably agree, she was a leftist right there. And once the Social Autopsy site project got torpedoed, she's going to make a shift and it is going to be grandiose. So, and again, a lot of the things that I've said about how Candace ended up becoming a quote unquote conservative are actually confirmed by this young lady's video. So let's let her finish up. Let's go.
Posted an open letter about Social Autopsy. During the height of Gamergate, Harper had been a frequent defender of Zoe Quinn and was attacked online as a result. Harper also acts as an activist in online gaming and anti-bullying spaces. I'm giving you this free advice after you decided to publicly shit on Zoe after she tried to talk to you about your platform. Going to Twitter to talk about it immediately afterwards on Social Autopsy account is shady as hell. I see that you deleted the tweet, so I'll remind you of the content. You stated that some Gamergate woman was being aggressive, that she didn't understand what you were doing, and that she started crying on the phone because she was so upset. This is gross. Why would you make a private conversation where she was trying to help you public? You then proceeded to state that she was leading Gamergate and that she's the cause of all the harassing messages you've received. That's right. The person that was the original target of the most publicly known online harassment mob, the woman that made Forbes 30 Under 30 list for her fantastic work in creating Crash Override, a resource for victims of online harassment, tried to patiently give you free advice because we all want to be helpful for new people that are trying to create online harassment solutions. In return, you sent a flurry of tweets with the Gamergate hashtag talking about your conversation, blamed your harassment on her, and told Kathy Young that she was bullying you. You are a fucking idiot. The letter goes on to detail Harper's problems with the idea of social autopsy. Like Quinn, Harper's primary concerns were the risk to children being doxxed and how the site planned to verify data submitted to them. In further defense of Quinn, she wrote, Zoe, a well-known activist and anti-harassment work founder, called you to give you free advice. She knows as well as I do how this platform is going to be exploited, but you chose to ignore her. You told her that she wasn't supporting you, and then you went to the group that's been targeting her and violated her confidentiality while talking about how you were being bullied by her. You then proceeded to blame the harassment you were getting from that group on her. What the fuck? But the most important portion of this letter, as far as Candace was concerned, was the last paragraph. You blamed your Kickstarter getting shut down on trolls. You're wrong. That was us. As long as you're willfully harming other people by creating shitty, uninformed products while kicking the shit out of anyone that tries to help you, we're going to keep getting you shut down. You've created more work for me in the past 3 days, but I'd rather invest this time now because if this bullshit doesn't get nipped in the bud early, it's just another fucking platform I'm going to have to try to help protect people from in the future. There it was, Candace thought, an admission. All of this, the threatening emails, the Kickstarter shutdown, the numerous negative blog posts being written about social autopsy. Candace believed that all of it was caused by Zoe Quinn. But how could she prove it? In order to do that, Candace devised a plan. She posted a message on Twitter announcing that she would be releasing all of the harassing emails and that she knew who was behind them, Zoe Quinn. Once Candace sent off that tweet, she said something remarkable happened. The harassing emails stopped. Candace wrote in her blog that the messages which had been coming in since everything went viral stopped for an entire weekend after she named Zoe Quinn as the culprit on Twitter. This seemed to confirm Candace's suspicions. The only thing left.
Okay, I'm going to jump in real quick because I think this is something that Candace does a lot of. She'll make a claim with no basis and say, hey, if, matter of here's Zoe 39, you know, if Zoe 39 doesn't stop doing something, I'm going to release all of the content that I have against Zoe 39. Well, Zoe's like, well, I don't know what he has. So let me, hold on, maybe he got something bad on me. And instead of people saying, you know what, I don't even care. Go ahead and release whatever. I'll release it. Here, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Or Candace just saying, hey, let me go ahead and show y'all what Zoe 39 has been doing. She doesn't do that. It's always checker move. Like I do something, you have to do something more to give me the material so I can make my next move. And she always does that. She does that all the time. And thankfully, Zoe, I have no bad news. I got nothing to tell, nothing. Unless, of course, you didn't hit the like button. Then I have to put you in 0-second timeout. But besides that, though, it's all good. But she does this all the time. It's like a game of chicken. Like, and I don't know why people keep falling for it. She's been doing it forever and she gets away with it. And I'm sorry, them people should have said kick rocks. If you got information, then go ahead and show it. Do what you got to do. Who cares? But anyway, let's finish this up. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Let's go.
Was why? Why would someone want to do all of this? Why would a supposed anti-cyberbullying activist want to shut down a site which would reveal bullies? Why would that person be so desperate to do so that they would resort to harassment tactics themselves? If a company was coming out and said in their crowdfunding video, what we are doing is figuratively lifting the mask off of trolls, you could inundate Kickstarter with email complaints about minors and make them believe they were involved in something dirty. What you could do is control people's perception. What is the valuation of that? You could fiend friends, fiend your own support, and exaggerate your own presence and significance. Yes, if you were willing to spend full time dedicated to the web, you could begin to distort reality by presenting an assumed majority. You could create different personas, thereby infiltrating certain communities. And if a company like Social Autopsy developed a technology to unmask you, it would ruin everything. Literally. On April 27, 2016, Breitbart News published a story about the Social Autopsy fiasco. Unlike the New York Magazine story, which cast Candace as a naive, uninformed former harassment victim who was falsely blaming two innocent activists, Breitbart accepted Candace's interpretation of events, that the harassing emails were orchestrated by Quinn. There have been right-wing and left-wing critics of Social Autopsy because both sides had concerns that it would ruin internet anonymity. But as Candace focused her ire on Quinn and Harper, many on the right side of politics began to take her side.
So here is the shift. So, and let me back up just a little smidgen. I do think it's interesting, and you can find this Breitbart article on Breitbart. You know, I pulled it up earlier. I just didn't have it ready. Maybe I'll pull it up by the end of the show. But I thought Breitbart was bad because Ben Shapiro was somehow or another related to it. But Breitbart was very favorable to her in this article. Just something weird. Okay, notice this is where the shift is going to change from her being a leftist to her not becoming a quote-unquote conservative. Watch this.
Of events that the harassing emails were orchestrated by Quinn. There have been right-wing and left-wing critics of Social Autopsy because both sides had concerns that it would ruin internet anonymity. But as Candace focused her ire on Quinn and Harper, many on the right side of politics began to take her side. They embraced Candace's narrative as yet another example of Quinn and feminists in general manipulating the media for their own gain. Candace had, in fact, been very unaware of the world she was entering into. However, this is understandable given the form of bullying she was focused on combating. At high schools across the country in the early 2000s, administrators were confronted with off-campus cyberbullying, characterized by students bullying other students they knew via texting, websites, and chat rooms. This is a type of harassment that happened to Candace in high school. At least one of her harassers was known to her and was a former friend, and had been suspended for disruptive conduct towards Candace, which occurred on campus just days before she received the harassing phone calls. During this era, schools would often report that they could not legally take disciplinary action for conduct that happened off campus or for conduct that didn't involve physical violence. This scenario was depicted in several made-for-TV movies and after-school specials developed to highlight the issue. Sadly, cyberbullying would claim the lives of several students until school policies began to catch up with technology.
I am so proud of you. Great work, baby.
Nice job, Nessa.
All right.
Best friends?
Best friends.
That's one thing we don't need to stress about.
Did you see how Nessa flirted with Tony? She was all over him. Doesn't she know he's yours?
Do you want to go out sometime?
Hey guys, there's plenty of room over there. That food has to weigh a ton.
Don't make it sound harmless, though. I'm sorry, but in the absence of violence, there's nothing much we can do.
A solution like Social Autopsy would be an imperfect but well-meaning attempt to address this form of bullying. By 2016, technology had continued to evolve at lightning speed, and the most insidious form of bullying was anonymous cyber harassment. As Randy Harper detailed in her open letter, these cyber harassers often target people they don't know personally. They use their sophisticated technological knowledge to weaponize government agencies, law enforcement, and private corporations against someone. This form of bullying is much more difficult to prevent and stop. Attackers can create thousands of untraceable accounts in minutes. They can disguise their real location, and while this type of harassment is damaging enough when done online, it doesn't.
But think about it. Candace does, like, literally, this is what Candace does with the, was it decentralized intelligence agency, the mommy sleuths? That's what she did. She has thousands of people, and it's not even like she had to create the accounts. They're just out there already. That's exactly what Candace does in real time right now. Shout out to the Best Live Chat.
Always result in someone physically showing up to harm someone, meaning that law enforcement finds it even more difficult to identify individuals and charge them. When Quinn and Harper interacted with Owens, they seemed insulted that she was unaware of how things had changed online. Candace didn't know about their accomplishments, cyberbullying terminology, or the flaws in Social Autopsy's use cases. Accustomed to being the authority figures on the topic of cyberbullying, I can believe they spoke to Candace condescendingly and expected her to defer to their judgment. When Candace seemed unimpressed and unmoved by Quinn's demands, Quinn clearly didn't take it well. In Kathy Young's article on the Social Autopsy controversy posted on May 1st, 2016, she writes of the activists. I also think it's entirely plausible that Harper and Quinn regarded Owens as an interloper on their turf, which does not negate the fact that they also had justified criticisms of her project. Initiatives against internet harassment have been almost entirely owned by the social justice faction in the culture wars, and Owens is clearly not part of that clique. It's even possible that Quinn and Harper may dislike Owens' proposed online bullies registry because they may realize, particularly Harper, that they may end up in it themselves, not for anything they do in secret, but for their public behavior. Harper openly states her concern that Social Autopsy may improperly classify people as harassers when they respond to harassment, which is no doubt how she sees her verbally abusive posts. In 2017, Candace took down all of her...
Isn't that exactly what Candace does when somebody replies back to her? Why are they so offensive? Why are they so defensive? Why are they coming at me like this? I'm just asking questions. Is that not exactly what she does? Right now, we watched her do this this month, for crying out loud. Like, that's exactly what she does. And I just think it is really wild that this is, I don't think it really slid under the radar. I think most people knew this, but just hearing somebody else affirm what you've been thinking, that's kind of wild, man. That is pretty wild. Let's go finish up.
Old YouTube videos and changed the name of the account to Red Pill Black. This parody video of her coming out as a conservative went viral and gained hundreds of thousands of views. There are some theories that Candace's success posting conservative content was due to family connections, or that Candace was simply copying content from other conservatives that she thought would garner her attention. Certainly her content didn't contain anything new. The talking points have been publicized by many other conservatives over the years. But what made Candace's videos different was that she was posting at a time of extreme polarization and high levels of social media engagement. Discussions of journalistic integrity in the gaming world aligned with larger conversations about media coverage and bias happening nationwide. Donald Trump, a billionaire, cultural icon, and reality TV star, galvanized supporters by calling out what he called fake news, giving a name to what many conservatives believed was a biased liberal media monopoly. Candace, a person who had a background in journalism and at least 2 experiences with social media outrage culture, was poised to seize this moment and rise to the top of conservative media. And it wouldn't be long before others in the conservative world would take notice. After several viral videos, Candace was offered a job as communications director at Turning Point USA, a conservative political organization. She was also invited on many conservative platforms like InfoWars, Dave Rubin, and even Fox News. Candace was quickly becoming an important voice in Trump-age conservatism. Like Trump, Candace was not concerned with political correctness, backlash, or outrage. When interviewed, she gave her views directly with no filter, often going viral on social media, which made her a favorite of conservative news outlets and press. But with all of this attention, Candace would once again find herself in the middle of controversy with people who she expected to be on her side. When trying to launch Social Autopsy, she had said that leftists attacked her, spread rumors, and ultimately got the project shelved. Now in 2017, she would have to face her critics from the right. Many conservatives were questioning her sincerity and believed she was nothing more than an opportunist. They were leery of people who had previously rejected Trump, but were now saying they were supporters after he became president. And it didn't take much digging for them to find Candace's old blog, tweets, and articles. Conservative commentators like Blair White and Tree of Logic were confused as to how Candace could emerge seemingly from nowhere, be fully employed in conservative organizations, and be featured on conservative news platforms, while many other conservatives, including Black conservatives, had been advocating from the political right for years and had received far less fanfare. Debates on YouTube and Twitter erupted as people publicized portions of Candace's past. Some of those conservative critics of Social Autopsy reemerged to voice their concerns over Owens' involvement in the Kickstarter campaign.
Like a no-no type of a punishment, like maybe it's held for 3 months, and everybody, like all of these schools, we were meeting with principals of schools, of high schools, before we even decided what we wanted to do, to say, how can we...
I can tell you right now, I'm gonna back up so you can hear what she's about to say. I can tell you emphatically, there was not one principal on the planet who was in agreement with what this woman's about to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's no principal that would have agreed to this. There's no way. And listen to what she says. It's crazy work. It is crazy work. Watch this.
Of Social Autopsy reemerged to voice their concerns over Owens' involvement in the Kickstarter campaign.
it's like a no-no type of a punishment, like maybe it's held for 3 months, and everybody, like all of these schools, we were meeting with principals of schools, of high schools, before we even decided what we wanted to do, to say, how can we help? What would be helpful? What do kids care about? Well, they care about being on the football team, right? What if you said, you're on social autopsy, all these schools have this program, you said this to Carolina, whatever it is, now you don't get to try out for the football team. Something that's like petty.
Boxing website would be, I'm using.
How in the world would a principal say you can't be on the football team or you can't be on the whatever cheerleading or the debate club because you're on social autopsy? Ma'am, there is absolutely no way. There is no way that would have ever happened. I'm sorry. There's just no way. In 2017, I mean, and we weren't even in the height of Crazyville yet. I think the height of Crazyville was like 2020, 21. That's when society really went off the cliff. We were definitely cranking up. There's no way that you would have told some parent, yeah, your kid can't be on the football team. Your kid is kicked off the lacrosse team because their name showed up on this particular website. She would have got sued into oblivion. Like, just imagine the amount of people that would have lost scholarships, not been able to make a tryout or get looked at it for a particular school or whatever like that because of this website. Ma'am, please. There's no way. There's no way that would have been true. That was just one of the things she said that just made no sense.
This site to release information about people. But you're saying basically this was going to be an archive home for schools to look at this information and sift through it. Okay.
No schools have time for that.
So I think calling it an archive, I mean, it literally is an archive, but it's also a doxing website. Anytime you publish people's personal information, it is doxing.
It's not personal information.
Why not?
Because it was public.
Because it was on Facebook, that's still the definition of doxing. If you share someone else's...
No, it's not.
If you share someone...
No, it's not. You can't change the definition of doxing.
Hold on. I actually have the definition right here.
Good.
If you share someone else's personal information without their consent, it is doxing, especially when it comes
Google
to kids.
doxes everyone?
I'll finish. Especially when it comes to kids. I mean, she's definitely playing the whole, like, wanting to protect kids thing, which I think, honestly, your heart could have very well been in the right place. But the reality is, when you aggregate information of children and you attach it to where they go to school, which was the intent of your website, in fact, you actually said that it was the best time to be on the website if you were a child because it teaches you.
Can you slow? I literally can't follow you right now.
You said that it was the best time to be on your website when you're a child because it teaches them responsibility of what they say online, right?
We said that in a video. There are not, no harm, no foul. We didn't want to come out and say we're never going to put a minor on here because, again, the whole reason I thought of the idea was because of what happened to me when I was a minor.
Well, it's actually illegal to even put the child's information on there.
There was no children, so this is like a fantasy conversation.
Now, as messed up as Blair White has, Blair White has Blair White problems. We'll put those aside. Blair White is 100% correct. Candace did say children need to be on this website. So yeah, we're talking about, now we have children who are online way more than they were back in 2017. And Candace did say she wanted kids on that website. So that is true. In her Kickstarter intro video, she does talk about kids, minors being on the website. She's not talking about adults. She's not talking about 20-somethings. She's talking about kids, minors. And go back to that high school conversation. Aren't we talking about minors there when you're saying being on the football team? Not everybody in high school is 18 years old. We're talking about 15, 13, 12-year-olds. Like, those are children. Those are minors. But Candace acts like she doesn't know that. And I think the talk over thing here, Dave Rubin was trying his best to herd cats in this debate. I really wish that they had stopped her from talking and allowed Blair to actually finish up. But let's get done. You got like a few seconds left.
It's not a fantasy conversation. It was your intent. So that's what you don't really understand. You think that because the website didn't actually come to fruition that people still don't have a right to criticize the idea of it. That's exactly what you think. But regardless, you made it very clear that your intent was to put that information on your website. It actually violates the Children's Internet Protection Act.
Yep.
So it was illegal. So that's why your Kickstarter was actually
All right, wait, hold on. So let's pause for a second.
There were no children.
Critiques from the left side of the political spectrum were able to prevent her from becoming a success in liberal media. The attempts to stop Candace's rise on the right, however, failed.
And that's how we got the Candace that we have today. Shout out. If you want to check that out, I want to make sure that you, the mods, if you could just double check, make sure we can drop that link in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she would have some way to, she would dance around it. Let me say it like that. Wait, does she have another one? Okay, so she has the one about social autopsy. Oh, I didn't see this one. She has one about the infamous NAACP, the very first lawsuit that Candace ever filed. I didn't see that one before. Y'all want to see that one? In the chat, real quick. Y'all know it. Green hearts in the chat if you want to see it. We can watch that one real quick because I did want to go to the story box. We're just having a good time today. I don't think Candace is doing the show. I don't believe Candace is doing a show today. So I did think it would be good to just kind of get through some of these other videos that have also been on the radar. So if you want to, let me know. Green hearts in the chat if you want me to. We'll do that. While y'all are doing that, let me know. It's clear Candace bullied her way into the conservative job. No question there at all. Like I said, I just think she saw if you want to say bullied or you just want to say, hey, she saw an opening for that identity politics, that role that she filled in. I think that's really what, either way, bullied it in or either way. All right, lots of good folk. What's going on? Lots of good folk are in the best live chat on the planet. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody who's tapped in. Please make sure you hit the like button. I'm trying my best to hit 100,000 subscribers before April 30th of this year. I'm about 37,000 off, so I need to get moving and grooving. So if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe if I've earned it. If I haven't earned it, let me know what I need to do. Before I do this and before I bring this video in, thank you so much, Black Sigma. Always appreciate you and your support of the channel. Look. So people have been commenting, all you talk about is Candace. All you talk about is the Candace. Okay, that's fine. Because a lot of my channel wants to watch that content. But I think it's adorable that on a day that if you notice this weekend, I dropped 9 videos that had nothing to do with Candace at all. We had the video on MLK. We had a video on church security, as well as what's going on in Minnesota, and several other videos, and nothing whatsoever, nothing to do with Candace at all. If you're going to complain about me doing videos only about Candace, could you at least click on a video that's not about Candace and complain about it? The fact that you complain about me doing videos on Candace on a video about Candace, that's nasty work. That's nasty work, y'all. At least go to a video that's not about Candace and go ahead and complain. At least do that. I mean, I did a whole video on my comments about Riley Gaines and Riley Gaines, what I said about Riley Gaines, and what I said about God's will for Charlie Kirk to have passed away. People lost their absolute minds. Well, there's a video that's not about Candace. Why don't you comment on that one? You go to a video about Candace and complain about a video about Candace. Y'all can't make that stuff up. You just can't make it up. So I'm just going to put that out there. Shout out to Black Sigma, always supporting the channel. For the record, I still have no sympathy, Daily Wire, PragerU, and yes, TPUSA by not doing due diligence and look at the monster they created. I can't argue with you. I can't. I personally think that, and I've said this, I believe part of the problem was that there was an optics problem. They were going for optics, a lot of them. And this is what the problem with optics is. Whoa. Isn't that funny? Like, why did my camera got to focus right when I did that? All right. That's the problem with being optics, like running for optics. That's the problem. And so, no, I agree with you, Sigma. Thank you so much for the 5, and I appreciate you. It's going out of focus. Why my camera? Ooh. I think I'm kicking my desk. I think that's what it is. I feel like I kicked my desk, and my camera is like moving slightly. But let us continue. Let us continue. Okay, so everybody has heard that Candace sued her high school for racism and failure to support a student and such like that back when she was in high school. Well, this young lady did a docuseries on that. So let's see what she has to say, because it is a sealed case. So it's not a lot of information out there. So let's go ahead and hear what she has to say. Let's go.
By 2007, Candace was a student at Stamford High School in Stamford, Connecticut. Candace ran track, was a cheerleader, and had many friends.
Okay. What lies behind us is a small matter compared to what lies within us. To my dad for never giving up on me, and my mom for being my strength. To the Cribbins for never letting me give up. And Sean, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. These types of stories don't have endings. I'll be seeing you. Okay. All right. Shout out. Okay.
In her senior year, Candace started dating a new guy, and things seemed to be getting serious.
Uh-oh.
The relationship began to take time away from her extracurricular activities and other friends. One person in particular, named Evan Kopek, seemed to take a lot of offense to these changes. On February 1st, 2007, Candace and Evan got into a heated argument in class, and as a result of his actions during the exchange, Evan was suspended.
Whoa.
2 days later, Candace received threatening and racist voicemails on her phone. The harassers used racial epithets and threatened to burn Candace's house down. When given information about who had attacked Candace, the school said they could not take disciplinary action unless the perpetrators were arrested, since the incident occurred off campus. Candace left school for 6 weeks, unable to deal with seeing her harassers on a daily basis. She returned in March when Evan Kopek and another boy was arrested. Kopek was charged with first-degree harassment and second-degree intimidation by bigotry or bias. His case was eventually sealed due to his age. The NAACP sued the Board of Education on behalf of Candace, stating that the failure to suspend the boys when the incident was reported violated Title IX, which bans discrimination in schools that receive federal funding. It's not clear if the NAACP approached Candace's family to begin the legal effort or if they were asked to intervene. The Board of Education eventually settled out of court without admitting guilt. In an open letter written on March 5, 2016, Candace recalled, "By some random stroke of misfortune, one of those involved was Governor Daniel Malloy's son, a boy I had never even laid eyes upon. Malloy was mayor of Stamford at the time, and for obvious reasons, the mixture of politics and race proved irresistible to journalists. Soon my face was plastered on the front page of every newspaper across Connecticut, and everyone from the NAACP to Dr. Phil wanted in on the story. Without my consent or involvement, political forces took sides. The NAACP held press conferences outside my high school, which I reluctantly attended. Malloy's political enemies seized the opportunity to criticize him. Within my own family, lines were drawn. My father wanted to press charges. My mother just wanted to keep quiet so I could return to normal life. And all I wanted was an apology. I wanted someone to be accountable, admit they had made a mistake, and just say sorry. But to this day, no one has." The experience of the harassment, coupled with the media firestorm that followed, left Candace depressed and confused. She talked about the many days she would go home after school and cry due to the gossip among adults and students. She also came to feel that the labeling of this incident as a hate crime and these boys as racist was hyperbolic and wrong. Connecticut, do you remember any of us? I do, and I'll be the first to say I am sorry to all of them for having to endure that experience. A group of children dissected and labeled. Were they wrong? Categorically. Should they have been held accountable for their actions? Undeniably. Did they deserve to be branded by a society? No. After graduating high school, Candace enrolled in Rhode Island University in the fall of 2007 and planned to study journalism. She reportedly used her mother's maiden name at the university to avoid being recognized for what happened at Stamford. In a statement to the CT Post, Candace remarked, "It took me 7 years to move past it."
Okay, so I've heard a lot of different things about her last name. Her last name, if I'm not mistaken, her dad's last name is Rose, Rozay. And so her mom's maiden name would have been Owens, which is the name that she used to enroll in school. I've heard a lot of different things about why her last name is changed. And I don't know if it's ever really, I know it sounds weird. I don't know if it's ever been legally changed. It's almost like she went by it, but never actually had it legally changed. I don't know. Because I don't see anywhere where she actually had her name legally changed from Rose to Owens, which is it's just odd. But there's a lot of stuff odd about this story and Candace in general.
When something like that happens, you become hostile, you become bitter. I remember not even wanting to use my name.
Following this event, and I barely made it to college because of this. It was like something that was really taxing that happened in my senior year. And following this event, I developed severe anorexia. It's a control mechanism. So I felt like my life was completely out of control and people were basically able to freely say whatever they wanted about me. And it was permanently on the internet. Like this situation that happened and the NAACP fighting with politicians and nobody gave a shit about the kids that were involved in this. Nobody cared about the kids that were involved in this. I developed anorexia. I think the ringleader, they kept calling him, that like had these kids call me, went on to have like DUIs. He was like a closeted gay at the time. Everybody's life got ruined by this. And it was something that I never wanted and it ate me alive. It just was like, this is it. Like the internet is forever and these things happen. You get to write about them and you get to politicize something that's not true.
The irony of that last little segment right there is not lost. She just put somebody's information out there about another student. Again, I didn't know anything about him, but she didn't say it was the ringleader. We already know the ringleader was allegedly the mayor or the governor's son. So we got that person. She didn't say that he done got DUIs, that he was living in the closet. I mean, even in her natural parlance, like just talking in general, she doxing folks. She putting people's information out there for public consumption. That is crazy, man. She's just so used to it. I don't even think she even realized it. I bet you show her this clip, she'd probably be like, I didn't even realize I said that. It's just normal to her. Okay, let's go.
In a video called The Truth About Your Activism, posted on October 20th, 2016, Candace talks about how internet activism has replaced genuine activism by allowing people to feel that they have helped a cause without actually having to put their real identities or bodies on the line. After causing trending topics and viral moments, most online activists never really know the effects of what they have done, who has been helped, or who has been hurt.
Defending me against all of the chatter that was drummed up by students and teachers alike, because as we all know, in any of these types of situations, everyone feels a need to take a side. And maybe Candace made up the voice messages. Maybe she called herself. No one had been arrested yet. It was just an investigation. I made the decision then to start homeschooling while the investigation continued, and it concluded nearly 2 months later. It took 2 months.
Isn't it interesting? I mean, to see things that happened in her past and see them just repeating themselves now. Why is she allegedly homeschooling her children? Because of something that happened in a dream that she can't verify. Nobody ever verified, by the way, those voicemail messages. Nobody ever verified that, as far as I know. But they're sealed because they're all minors. Wait, they're minors? What about that social autopsy? See what I mean? So it's funny that so much of her life just is like a repeat. It's like just scenes being reimagined and repeated over and over and over again. So now we're doing the homeschool thing because of something that happened that can't be verified, that was traumatic, that drove her to be homeschooled. Again, it's just weird just to see that. Okay, let's go.
Before all of the boys involved were arrested and before I was able to return back to school and my hashtag was allowed to shift into the societal subconscious. And then, of course, everyone forgot about my story. Everyone except for me. Because a few months later, I started college and I couldn't rid my brain of all of those articles that I had read online about me and all the things that I had read in the comment sections about myself. I was naturally terrified that incoming freshman students that could potentially be my friend would discover these articles and form presumptive hashtags about my character. And I certainly didn't want them to think that I was a hashtag race baiter or that I was hashtag trouble or hashtag anything else. But I couldn't control the internet. What I did, however, discover was that I could control my body. And I began manifesting that experience through severe anorexia, a disease that would stick with me for the next 5 years.
It's interesting. She said, I cannot control the internet. But doesn't she say that she controlled the internet and held back the entire internet in 2025 from attacking TPUSA? It's just funny. Like, again, some of these things, the overlaps are kind of like, whoa, that's pretty wild that you said that because you did do something different. Or you've said something different or whatever. It's just, I just want to put that out there. Let's keep it moving.
This is a photo that was taken of me 3 years later in 2010, and I went on to lose about 10 pounds after it was taken. And if I am being completely honest on this stage right now, I remember my anorexia very dearly. I had an affectionate relationship with it. It was very hard for me to let it go because it was my best friend for 5 years. It gave me control of my life back. I felt somehow that with every calorie that I avoided, I was also avoiding the problems from my past. And those problems retrospectively could have been solved if somebody had just said sorry and taken responsibility for what happened, which never happened. It's an incredibly interesting afterthought to have, that our digital activism over these perceived acts of inhumanity can itself become the act of inhumanity. That as a society, we tend to drum up these hurricanes to combat what may initially have just been a storm. That's because the method of activism has morphed completely. When our parents and our grandparents were coming up, that word required a physical presence. They had to march on the front lawns of the White House to put an end to the Vietnam War. They had to risk their livelihoods to put an end to institutions like segregation. Activism meant maybe being arrested. Activism meant maybe being killed. So they had to care deeply, beyond the concept of a trending hashtag, to voice their outrage. But today we have the internet. And the internet is fast, and the internet is amazing, but doesn't exactly require a physical presence, and it therefore allows us a level of detachment.
Is that not? I have to admit, I have not seen this video. This one was new. I hadn't seen this one. Isn't it wild that she has such a disdain for the internet, but she uses the internet to do all of her activism right now? Again, like, it's funny because she's saying that, hey, when our grandparents had to march, they put their lives on the line. They had to physically go to these places. Well, Candace doesn't have to physically go in these places. She unleashes her mobs all around the internet, dare I say globally, to scour and find information. She literally is becoming the thing that she hated in the cyberbullying story. Like, this is craziness, man. The overlap. I'm glad we watched these videos. I will make sure, by God's grace, I'm gonna put all the videos, link them in the description so you can go back and watch them. But it's funny, like, just to hear her talk about this, and she has become the enemy. She's become the thing that she doesn't want. Batman has become the Joker. Oh, that's the end of it. Oh, well, go figure. Okay. Black Leaf, I guess, is the name of that. I don't know. But shout out for sure. That was interesting. It's wild that she has become the problem that she saw in other people. That's wild. That's some wild stuff. All right. And I think it's fair to say maybe the whole thing with the kids, where did the narcissistic injury start? Because it just seems like there's a lot of reloops and replays of different parts of her life are just getting replayed. I'm not saying it's like Groundhog's Day. I'm definitely not saying it's a pound for pound reimagination, but a lot of it seems kind of similar. It just seems weird to me. But thank you so much. Man, what do we got here? Thank you so much, Adam. I think Charlie thought he could change her heart, but like Judas, she belonged not to Christ. She belonged to the streets. You're right, Adam. Thank you so much for the 5. I appreciate you. Y'all, what is 303 did? 303 is them blessed 10 of y'all with memberships. If you got a membership, please make sure you say thank you to Dom C 303. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for extending out the membership. We're filling out the family. The church is getting more and more full. We have to, you know what? We have to insert some new pews in the church. Absolutely. What do you say here, my friend? Thank you for the 10. There's no such thing as bad publicity. P.T. Barnum, Candace Owens, is getting talked about, and that's her goal. Any attention is better than no attention, a pure narcissist. Okay, so here, I like what you said there. Thank you again for the 10. But let me propose something to you. You hear her say in this last video segment, she wanted somebody to say they're sorry. She wanted somebody to apologize to her. And effectively, we've heard that in some way, shape, or form, a remastering of that in multiple situations. She wants people to affirm her. She wants people to give her credit for whatever she's done. So here's my question. Is it possible that she thinks that anybody talking about her is better than the fact that nobody is apologizing and acknowledging her greatness or acknowledging her awesomeness or whatever of that nature? So since nobody's acknowledging how great I am, at least I got people saying something about me, even though it's something like I'm tearing down Charlie Kirk's legacy or I'm a narcissist or I'm a very bad person. At least they're talking about me because nobody's acknowledging how great or wonderful I am. Can that work as well? That's just what I'm thinking as it relates to watching her implode. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much for that. What does Sigma say here? Came back around. What value key word that Candace brought to the table, in my opinion, she was a DEI hire for conservatives to show that they are not, that's 100% it. That's what I was saying when I was saying optics. But yes, that's basically what I'm saying. That, yeah, there was a DEI hire. So again, the conservatives, the right-leaning, the GOP, Republicans, we have to admit that we do the same thing that a lot of the identity politics, we got to admit it. And Candace is, I think, the most egregious example of it. But there have been other examples as well. Again, we have to get out of this Starfleet Academy. Anybody can be a cadet type of situation and only go for the very best of the best of the best and have the best people possible represent conservatism, Republicans, GOP, the right, because Candace clearly bit y'all in the butt. Thank you very much for that, Sigma. Hey, welcome. Welcome, Trish. Brand new member up in the building. Shout out to her. Welcome to you, Trish. If you did get a gift membership from Dom C303, please make sure you say thank you. As my friend, my mentor says, hey, we're in the South. We say thank you. We go ahead and put a name on it and say thank you so much, 303. Okay, we are rounding these bases. Now, if y'all want to, we'll be here all night. I have nothing going on until 8 o'clock. But a lot of you all said that Storybox had a great video today, and I had not had an opportunity to watch it. So why don't we watch it together? How about that? Is that okay with y'all? You know, like I like to do. Go and put those green hearts in the chat if it's okay. Of course, brand new members, you have access to all the new members emojis. So make sure you put some of the member emojis in there as well. And let me know that if y'all want, we'll do that. There we go. Yeah, make sure you just say thank you. I appreciate you. She wants to pry into everyone else's background, but we know little about hers. There we go. You know, you right on the money. You are absolutely right. Ginger Faye, you are right. Gina Faye, please forgive me. Ding Batman, that's hilarious. I heard him the other day tell the story about he got bit by a bat or something, like walking outside and a bat attacked him. See, that's why I can't do Australia. I'll do Australia like from the sea, but you're not gonna get me in there. I'm not getting attacked by a bat. He had to go get like all these rabies shots and stuff. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, sir. Yeah, boy, I'm allergic to bats. I mean, no, yeah, we're not doing that. It's just too much. This is too much for your boy. Okay, so let's see what Jay had to say. I will tell you, spoiler alert, your favorite Atlantean may very well be doing a project coming up soon, maybe, possibly. I can't tell you when, with your favorite Aussie Ding Batman. Maybe we'll do Batman and Ding Batman. I think that'd be funny. Shout out to Jay. We'll keep you posted. We've been talking, so hopefully we'll be able to do something soon. All right, let's go with no further ado. What's going on, Jay? How are you, friend?
You know what's fascinating? when radical leftists used to actually come out and attack Candy Owens, and now they're defending her.
That is
now
wild.
You have radical leftists like Janky Boy Ugar and Anna Kasparian, the anti-Israel crowd. Now you have them praising Candy Owens and saying, well, she's not in the wrong about anything, what she's doing at the moment with Turning Point USA, because Turning Point USA is so horrible and so disgusting what they've been doing and covering up Charlie Kirk's death and all that sort of other nonsense, which comes from Candy Owens. What's interesting to me is that they're now having a change of heart or a change of tune, which leads me to think or believe now that Candy, she's no longer a conservative. So if anyone thinks that she is a conservative, why is it that you have radical leftists that are praising her? If anyone thinks that she is still a conservative, you've got another thing coming. She is anti-Israel. She is a psychopathic lunatic. And so is Janky Boy Ugar, the sweaty pig, or the ogre, and then his goblin of a sidekick, Anna Kasparian. Both of them obviously have pretty big voices in the YouTube space for news, if you want to call it that, even though it's very, very biased. And they want to come out and say, well, I didn't say that. They're very similar to Candy Owens. Very similar. I think they've got the same sort of playbook, right? They all run in the same sort of circles. They're lying. You want to know how someone lies? Look at their facial expressions. Look at how they react to a certain topic. Look at their eyes. Look at their mouth. Look at their eyebrows. Look at how they actually interact with a certain subject, especially when they're asked about a particular thing they said in the past. Watch what they usually say. I guarantee you that you can catch them out very quickly. It's the fact of the matter that they do not care if they are lying or not. They lie for a living. They lie and they get paid lots of money to lie. It's what they do. And the sooner people realize that, the better it is. I want to show you guys this video. This is from Canary Mission. I think they do a brilliant job at giving you guys like a side-by-side comparison, very similar to what Nathan Livingston and Milk Bar TV does, right? So it's amazing when you put things side by side, things from 2021, they've said in the past, versus 2025. The internet is forever, guys. Don't forget about that. Have a watch of this.
Tucker Carlson wants to call Black Americans murdering savages, but he knows he can't do that. So he's like, that's what we pay Candace for. No, I'm not going to denounce Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. Yeah, I said it, Candace. You're the worst of the worst. You're a sellout. No, we don't have to denounce her at all, okay? You're scum of the earth. None of that money is worth it. None of it is worth it.
There is a concerted effort to make Candace Owens look like she's absolutely insane, but it looks like Candace Owens was onto something. Candace Owens is not someone that anyone takes seriously, including people on the right. The people accusing her of being crazy are the real insane people. Candace Owens, who once argued that the problem with Hitler was his love for globalization and not the fact that he slaughtered 6 million Jewish people.
Don't come at me about denouncing Candace Owens until you denounce Jared Kushner.
People like Candace Owens lead pathetic lives because they're paid to sell their own identity out. None of the things that she says is true. I guess they get paid handsomely. I don't know how they sleep at night.
Firstly, 2021, Candace, you're a sellout. You're a scum of the earth. No, we don't have to denounce Candy Owens. It's 2025. No, we don't have to denounce her at all. Why in the world would we do such a thing like that? Candace Owens is on our side. She hates Israel just as much as I do. So therefore, she's on my team. You know, the only thing that these dingbats actually have in common is that they love to lie. They love to lie so much about Israel. It's like you can see it all the time. It's a trend. All of these people, they're anti-Israel. The moment they're anti-Israel, they'll claim to be America first or Australian first or that they're a Christian or they're Muslim, and they're just vehemently anti-Israel. But guess what? The lie is already there. Can you tell what is the actual lie? That Israel is the big bad wolf, man. Israel is responsible for everything bad. That is the common denominator. The common denominator that these people, these dingbats, have circulated themselves around. They want to tell you that Candace in 2021 is the most horrible human being on the face of the earth. She just sell out. And then a few years later, because she changed her tune towards Israel, oh no, she's the best thing ever. I'm not going to announce Tucker. I'm not going to announce Candace because they've got massive audiences. And why in the world would I do that now? They could ruin the Young Turks. Oh no. I don't think that's even possible, to be honest, because they've got so many leftist dingbats watching them. Oh, there's a concerted effort nowadays, guys, to make Candace Owens look insane. This is from Anna Kasparian, the other insane goblin that lies for the skin of her teeth. There is a concerted effort. What effort is that exactly? To try and make Candace look insane. She is insane, you dingbat. And if you can't see that, then guess what? No one can help you. If you can't see the things that Candace Owens has said, not just in the past, but in the present, as insane, you need help too. But that's what these people do. They will latch on and they will defend. They will defend their own because they hate Israel. And they will defend Candace Owens because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's the common denominator. She has a big platform and she's spreading the hate of Israel. So why will we go against her? Even if it means defending the fact that she actually is downright psychopathic and insane, even if it means doing that, even if it makes us look like actual idiots, which again is not too hard to do, we don't have to do anything. Like I said, I think it was in my video yesterday, the jokes write themselves sometimes. The content literally is right there. I don't have to do too much. You guys do it all for me. You dingbats like Chenky Boy, the Ogre Yuga, and Anna, the Goblin Kasparian. You guys do it all for me. And you guys may go, well, it's all clipped. What? Your words that are right there? Oh, context matter. Context matters, Jay. Yes, it does. You said what you said. How is there any different context surrounding what you said? There's a concerted effort to make Candace Owens look insane. What's the other context? How are you going to reframe that exactly? The concerted effort. What concerted effort? Apparently, I'm paid $7,000 to do all this. I'm paid from Israel to do all this. You know, the only money I've ever received are from Israeli people saying, thank you, Jay, for supporting Israel. Thank you, Jay, for doing the right thing. And that comes as a donation. That's not coming, and that's coming from a fan, by the way. It's not coming from an Israeli lobbying group. They will be like, thank you, Jay, for saying the truth and for defending Israel. That's the only money that I've received from an Israeli person. That's it. I'm not receiving it from lobbying groups. They have donated it to me. So I'm not getting like $7,000. I'm not being paid by Israel to defend them. I'm not doing it for money, but that's what they want to claim. It's outrageous, isn't it? It doesn't matter if the person is from Israel, Australia, America, wherever they're from. I don't care. I will tell the truth. And I'm not afraid to disclose either. You guys have got nothing. When I say you guys, I'm talking about the dingbats. They've got nothing. And they know they've got nothing. So they're clasping at straws. Yes, we're the real insane people, guys. The ones that are accusing her of being insane, we're really insane people. Sounds a little bit like gaslighting to me, doesn't it? Anna, the Goblin Kasparian. Huh. I don't think she likes being told the truth, does she? Well, guess what? Anna, the Goblin Kasparian, you in 2020 were saying that no one takes Candace Owens seriously. So why should we take you seriously now? Ooh, I don't think we should take Anna, the Goblin Kasparian, seriously anymore. And neither do we think that we should take Candace, Candy, the bloody Owens seriously either. Yeah, I guess they get paid handsomely. I don't know how to sleep at night. I really don't know how Chunky Yogi Yuga sleeps at night, nor Anna, Goblin Kasparian, nor Candy Dingbat Owens. I don't know how any of them sleep at night. Probably very comfortably by the looks of things, because only a psychopath is able to sleep knowing that they're lying to people for a living. Anyway, that's enough from me. You guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Okay, shout out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. We have a pretty big problem. We're gonna have to go. We might have to get on our snow boots and our snowshoes, and we might need to get on and converge on Nashville to check on Candace. I don't think Candace is going to be doing too well. Jason, what are you talking about? Jason, what are you talking about? Shout out to Dom C 303 with a very kind $10 super. He said this, or Dom C said this: what is Candace Owens going to do now that Kanye took out a full-page ad in the New York Times apologizing for his anti-Semitic rants, citing mental illnesses? And I said, what is this person talking about? I'm like, I appreciate 303 dropping a very kind super chat. I mean, that's very kind of him. But I said, what is he talking about? That didn't happen. Did it? Well, lo and behold, guess what? It did happen. Shout out. Thank you so much for letting me know about this. Kanye West, or Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, takes out an ad in the Wall Street Journal to apologize for anti-Semitic outbursts. I lost touch with reality. Y'all better check on her, because you know she's not said anything about Kanye and what he said to that rabbi. So now here we go. In an open letter paid for by Yeezy, the controversial artist apologized for his past offensive remarks, which he claims stem from their neurological damage after a 2002 car crash. Y'all better check on Candace. Okay, now because your boy did not pay for the Wall Street Journal, your boy can't open up the Wall Street Journal. But your boy does have Ground News. Shout out to Ground News. They are not a sponsor of the show, but I do have a code for them. Shout out to Ground News. Guess what? I got the article. Let's read it. Ye declares, I love Jewish people. All right. Ye apologizes for his anti-Semitism, in Wall Street Journal ad. I lost touch with reality. All right, let's go see what happened over here. Let's hit all these real quick. Kanye West and Bianca Censori attend the 67th Grammy Awards in February 2025. Ye has again issued a formal apology for his recent years of anti-Semitic tirades, taking out a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal in which he attributed his actions to his prior health conditions. Let me make that a little bit bigger. This is crazy work. Here, I'm going to get myself out of here. I think I know what I look like. Let's make this a little bit bigger, Jason. I lost touch with reality. The rapper and fashion mogul formerly known as Kanye West writes in the ad. Later, he added, I am not a Yahtzee or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. Ye has reportedly alienated the global Jewish community with broad swaths of his fan base since the fall of 2022, when he first threatened to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Last year, he bought a Super Bowl ad and promoted t-shirts with swastikas on them, then released a song called Hail the Failed Art Student, which a group of far-right anti-Semitic influencers, including Nick Fuentes, recently played at a Miami nightclub in a viral incident. The journal adds marks the latest in a series of apologies from Ye, which also include a May 2025 declaration that he was done with anti-Semitism and apologizing in person to an Orthodox rabbi in November. I like, why is she not mentioned any of this? Why has Candace not mentioned any of these falling outs or disagreements or whatever like that with Kanye West? Because again, she was touting Kanye West. She was quoting him like that was Bible. So why are you not quoting this now that he's made some changes to his ideology about the Jewish people? Let's keep going. In the ad, Ye writes that he experienced head trauma from a car accident 25 years ago that went undiagnosed until 2023, which caused serious damage to my mental health and led to bipolar type 1 diagnosis. He has been open about his bipolar disorder for years. I didn't know that. I thought bipolar was, I didn't think it was brought on by trauma. I didn't know that. I thought bipolarism was something more like a chemical imbalance, not I got into a car accident. But I could be wrong, man. I'm praying, as you say, I'm praying for the brother for sure. I'm sure he's been going through some struggles. I mean, with his mom passing, all the stuff going on with his marriage and his kids and stuff like that. Let's keep this dance going. In that fractured state, I gravitated toward the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it, Ye writes. He describes disconnected moments and reckless behavior stemming from his disorder while noting it does not excuse what I did, though. Ye also apologized to the Black community, which held him down through all of the highs and lows in the darkness of time. Okay, all right, shout out. After his open embrace to Nazism, which had followed his promoting of the phrase White Lives Matters, many of the Ye's former allies and collaborators in the Black community abandoned him. His music remains popular on social media and underscores many Instagram posts and other user-generated content. He said he's been embarking on an effective regimen of medication therapy, exercise, and clean living, concluding, I'm not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today simply to ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home. Okay, kind of want to read the letter now. Ye normally active social media accounts where he has shared anti-Semitic language and imagery in the past were quiet Monday morning after the apology ad ran. He has maintained an active performance schedule. This week, he's scheduled to play 2 high-profile concerts in Mexico City. I didn't know he was still traveling. I didn't know he was still performing. Okay, shout out. Even amid his recent apologies, Ye's record of anti-Semitism continues to motivate popular anti-Semitic influencers. In recent days, Candace Owens, a far-right pundit and anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist whose own collaborations with Ye directly precipitated his public anti-Semitism, that's a long sentence, had returned to sharing some of Ye's initial anti-Semitism tweets, Semitic tweets, with her followers. This tweet is a whole vibe. She wrote about his DEFCON 3 tweet. Owens has been promoting allegations that Israel was involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Wow, man. Okay. Yo, shout out real quick. Yeah, if anybody happens to run across this, or you have access to the New York Times and you want to send it to me, dearwokec@gmail.com. I will gladly take care of it. I'll take good care of it. I will. Yo, shout out for sure. Thank you so much, 303, coming up in here. Y'all put 303 in the chat. Go ahead, man. 303. I appreciate that. I didn't know. I was totally asleep at the switch. Y'all let them know we appreciate him. Thank you so much. All right. I think she's a reprobate minded and needs prayer. Yep. Same with Barron and Ian. While they accuse TPS at Calvary Chapel by the Bible verses, they espouse false Christianity. No argument from me, goats and a dog. No argument from me. Shout out to 303. Yeah, that was good. Thank you very much for that. I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming. Who had that on their bingo board? 2026 is already coming out the gate, hot and heavy. Shout out to 2026 for sure. Okay. All right. What'd you say? Candace is trapped. What? Candace has trapped herself in a corner with that. Yeah. I mean, she's elevated Kanye West to, like, how does she separate herself from this? So now if she comes on tomorrow, she's going to have to talk about that. Because I'm sure somebody's already emailed me the article and I'm going to read it. So I'm going to be here. I'm here for all of the shenanigans. So I'm here for that. So that's going to be wild. But she painted herself in the corner a long time ago, I personally believe. What we got? Okay. So, yes, people have been asking about this Larry Elder, Josh Hammer interview that happened. When did this happen? This was about 3 or 4 days ago. I got it 2 days ago. Un momento, por favor. 1 second. All right. So my wife and daughter are braving the polar vortex, the terrible snowstorm, to go to the grocery store. I don't know for what, because we have food here. I'm like, what do y'all just want to get outside? That's all. They've been in the house since Saturday, so I ain't mad at them. So they're going to the grocery store. For what? I don't know what y'all going to the grocery store for. Anyway, let me bring y'all in with Larry Elder and Josh Hammer. All right. This was an interview again that happened on Larry Elder's show. Just to give a little bit of context, he asked him the usual questions, so we'll get some of the answers that we've heard from Josh in times past. So let me bring him on. Y'all check it out. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
There has been a rise of anti-Semitism, not just on the left, but also on the right. And as I understand it, you were accused of somehow being complicit in the assassination of Charlie Kirk by a very well-known, formerly pro-Trump conservative who's now become, I don't know what Candace Owens has become. How did you react to that? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, Larry, it's I mean, Charlie and I had gotten very close in the final year and a half of his life. We were in daily communication. He was a friend. I cried my eyes off. I mean, I think the only time I've actually cried on the Josh Hammer show was after Charlie's death. I have not cried at any other time, I don't think, on the show. Mm-hmm. So it was actually over a Jewish holiday. It was over the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, the festival of booths, of tabernacles, as many Christians know it. And it's actually, in Leviticus, we're actually commanded to rejoice on this holiday. So this dichotomy was such that I was rejoicing offline, as religious Jews do, with my family. And I come back online, and I see that while I was off for 49 hours, Candace Owens had said that Josh Hammer had foreknowledge of Charlie's assassination and therefore was complicit. And it's nasty stuff, because these are not innocent words, Larry. They actually arrested someone in Texas for issuing online death threats against me and a few others, no doubt riled up by Candace Owens, who this individual was following on social media. So it's just galling stuff. I mean, I was among the first that she has accused. Now it's been Erica Kirk, Andrew Colvett, any number of others as well. Seemingly there's a new conspiracy theory by the day. So I initially did a 25, 30-minute video just responding, and that was kind of a soft launch, actually, of our show, mm-hmm. Join the Salem family. And it's just awful, because it's awful when people who had compelling good things to say, just for XYZ reasons, just go down this ultra dark conspiratorial rabbit hole. Unfortunately, Candace Owens, as you know, Larry, is not the only one. She's among the most prolific, let's call it there, but unfortunately, this mind virus is spreading.
She's particularly disturbing to me because she wrote the foreword for my last book. We used to be very, very close. I went to her wedding. She once referred to me as her mentor. Wow. I thought of her as kind of like the daughter I almost wish I'd had.
Wow.
And some of the things that she's been saying recently, I just can't believe it. And Dennis Prager, my colleague here at Salem, wrote her a very long letter, point by point, addressing some of the things that she said that were anti-Semitic. And she promised she'd respond. And she didn't. Dennis made the letter public, and she still hasn't responded.
I remember reading that letter very well. I read it word for word that very evening there. Dennis, as he always does, did an amazing job there. I mean, the reason that she's not responding is because I think she knows that she can't, there's nothing to say here. I mean, when you're spouting medieval style blood libels, which is among the things that she has done there. I mean, this most recent video that she did, she was waving this book called The Talmudic Jew, which is written by an infamous late 19th century German anti-Semite. I mean, this stuff is not defensible on grounds of logic or principle or intellectual heft.
So, Josh, what happened to her, in your opinion? The temptation to say follow the money, things like that. What, in your opinion, is going on? I know you don't know for sure, but what would you speculate?
So she first started saying some unhinged stuff about a year before October 7th. It was late September, early October 2022, around the time that Kanye West had his Tucker Carlson interview, and then Tucker, we later found out, actually edited out the anti-Semitic portions of that interview, and then Kanye ultimately came out as a pretty bad anti-Semite. He allegedly has repented and toned a little bit for that. But Candace was becoming very chummy with Kanye around that time, around the time that Kanye was saying that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people and doing his whole pro-Nazi, pro-Hitler thing. So my working theory, and I have no proof of this, but my working theory is that Kanye had a hand in Candace's radicalization. A lot of this rhetoric, Larry, this rhetoric of the synagogue of Satan, it's very Louis Farrakhan Nation of Islam type rhetoric. And by the way, again, this rhetoric is not isolated. So, for instance, this horrific recent arson attack against the largest synagogue in Mississippi about a week and a half ago, if I recall, the arsonists described this synagogue in Jackson, Mississippi as of the synagogue of Satan. So again, people can connect the dots there, but it seems to me not outside the realm of possibility that much like the person they arrested who was making threats against me, that this individual might have been riled up, inspired by Candace Owens. But my best guess is that this is probably the effect of Kanye West. I don't think she's being paid off. That's not my guess. Some people probably are. I do think that there's a lot of Qatari money that's slushing around in certain pockets of the American influencer space right now. I don't know that Candace is being bought off. I think it's something a bit else.
All right, let's talk about the Gaza deal. Trump had a 20-point plan. One of them was to make sure that Hamas is disarmed. Hamas is not disarmed. What's the status right now of the conflict between Israel and Gaza and Hamas?
So the status right now is that Trump is trying to oversee this international board of peace, and this board of peace will have some international troops and gatekeepers essentially there. And there's something of a squabble now between the U.S. and Israel over which countries will have troops on the ground. So Netanyahu has said Qatar, Turkey, these are pro-Hamas, pro-Muslim Brotherhood countries. They cannot have any presence. There's a little bit of back and forth there between Netanyahu and Trump on that. But whatever is currently happening in Gaza, and it's not entirely clear, Hamas no longer has a monopoly on the use of force. That's kind of the definition of what makes an entity a sovereign entity. They are no longer a sovereign entity in Gaza. They still do control, I understand, parts of Gaza, and there's still one hostage body that has not been returned yet. Now, allegedly, that body is being held by Hamas's jihadist outfit rival, Palestinian Islamic Jihad. But it's currently a lot better, certainly, than it was, let's call it 6 months ago. But unfortunately, Larry, the nature of Islamic fundamentalism, again, to kind of take us back to our earlier conversation, this is profoundly ideological stuff. It's very difficult to get these people to disarm. It's literally in their founding charter. It's in their founding charter, Hamas. They exist to destroy Israel, to murder not just all the world's Jews, but all the world's infidels, which means Christians, non-true supremacist Muslims, and so forth there. So where it goes from here is anyone's guess, but I don't see Hamas disarming anytime soon. And to me, I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of a dead end when it comes to 20-point plan.
Josh, I spoke to a professor of religious studies. He'd done a lot of work studying Islam. He's not Islamic. And I said to him, is Islam compatible with our constitutional republic? And Josh, he didn't say anything for 20 or 30 seconds.
Wow.
And then he said, I'm not sure.
Wow.
Same question to you.
Well, Larry, I mean, on the Josh Hammer show, I've been pretty open about this. The answer, in my view, is no. Now, that's not to say that there are not individual Muslims, right? So, you and I are both lawyers. So lawyers think about the categorical and then the individual. So at a categorical level, thinking about categories of principles, tenets, ideas, I don't think Islam is categorically compatible with American constitutionalism, with the broader Judeo-Christian biblical inheritance. That is not to say that there are not individual Muslims who indeed can assimilate into that overarching worldview. There are any number of examples. There's Judy Jasser, of course, who's a great friend, who's an amazing American patriot. There's any number of individuals who fit that description quite well. But Islam, going back to its founding, Larry, has a subjugationist element. I mean, even Saudi Arabia, which is not one of the more Islamist countries today, they have the sword in their flag. I mean, how exactly do you compute this with American constitutional ethos? It's a very difficult thing to square.
Well, the Quran gives non-believers three choices. You can convert, you can pay a tax as a second-class citizen, or you can be killed. And since the Quran has been dictated by God, it has to be interpreted literally. That's a problem. We come back, I want to ask you about what's going on in Minneapolis. My guest is Josh Hammer. Don't go away.
All right, shout out. That was the Larry Elder show with Josh Hammer on, like I said, a couple days ago. And I thought it was a good interview. I'm glad that Josh had an opportunity to kind of tease that out, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, y'all, but for real, I saw you all wanted the Tanashi Peters video. That video is an hour long. We got to start that one earlier. That is, look, tomorrow. I mean, I could literally run that video and go pick my daughter up from school. Yeah, we have to start that one a little bit earlier, because that one is that one's gonna be a long. That's gonna be a long night. I got it. Yeah, I think he's a great content creator for sure. But let's run that one back tomorrow. I have it queued up though. All right, I see some. That's interesting. This person right here. That's interesting that you say that. Is that what you actually believe? Is that your belief system? I'm really serious question. Is that your belief system there? I would love to know, is that what you honestly believe? Or are you just kind of putting stuff in the comments because you just want to stoke the fire? A legit question. And let me just see real quick. I just want to see if you comment again. I would love to make sure I catch what you're saying. Oh, it's a brain rot comment. We gotta do some excavation though. Yeah, I just want to know, do you actually believe that? And I don't know, maybe the person might, dip out, maybe. Like me? That's not very nice. I like you. Come on now. You don't like me? That's a little bit harsh for you, boy. That's a little harsh for you, man. All right, you got two brain cells fighting for the. Oh, okay. So clearly, all right, I got you. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. Mansoor, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for showing me exactly the depth of your insight and intellect. Man, I thought you were going to actually have something like intelligent to say. Here I am thinking you're going to say something intelligent. Oh my gosh. I'm over here. Call me surprised. Why are you going so hard at Candace Owens for lifting up facts or raising concern about certain things that look a certain type of way that we will all go on? Whoa. Okay. All right. All right. No, I'm just looking at, they're candy trolls for sure. What does this one say? There is no intelligent. Oh no, y'all. Now he's insulting the whole chat. How you gonna insult the whole chat and your name look like a cuss word? I mean, your name got more vowels in it. Wait, how you gonna say that? How you gonna insult the whole chat? How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that, man? That just shows the low budget, low IQ activity going on in Cantifa. You know what though? How about this one, Jason? I'm gonna drop the link for that person. I'm gonna drop the link in here. You or my friend, the lady that says she don't like me. I'm dropping the link in there. All I ask is that you don't use profanity, that you have your camera on. Just real quick. I just want to do real quick while my wife and kids are running to the grocery store. Okay? Oh, is that okay? Okay? I dropped the link for you. I would love for you to come on and explain to me. All right. I just want to Harry 1922. See, you picked up, you know what I'm doing over here. You know what it's about. Okay, real quick. I'm just dropping the link in there. If you want to, come on. Oh, man. Oh, we got some sovereign. I'm going to give him a second, and I'll drop a sovereign, and we got to get I just can't do my guy all night because that's going to be, what's that? Peter's video is long. And I saw some of it. I didn't realize how long it was. I'm like, yo, it looks like a good video, but we're going to have to pull that one in tomorrow. Let me see. Man, Will Smith is having a rough go at it, man. Yo, what's up with that? Will is having a rough go. All right, is that person going to jump in? I don't think they are, man. You can bring the proof. I'm dropping the link for you. Here's the link for you. I want you to come on and tell me whatever it is that you need to tell me. I dropped the link for you. I don't do this often. I'm in a good mood. So I'm dropping the link for you. The link has been dropped. All you gotta do is click on the link, make sure your camera is on, make sure that you don't use profanity, and that you stay on topic. That's it. That's all you gotta do. And I will let you explain to me what I'm missing. And I think it'll be worth it. I think it'll be worth it. Yeah, Candy's an IQ test, and we're about to do one. I'm waiting to see you. Either one of my friends, you're welcome to come on. I would love for you to come on and just, break it down to me. Let us know what I'm missing. Thank you so much. Let me real quick while we're doing this. Thank you, Mike, with the 10. I stopped watching Megan shortly after she put on Anna Kasparian in her show's rotation. Anna Kay also attacks Dave Rubin some years ago when she unfriended him. Now Megan is cozying up to Candace and praying to Charlie Kirk. That's a great point. She did say that she was praying to Charlie. That was wild. Shout out. Thank you so much for the 10. Very kind of you. And Tanash Peters has a video of Tim Wall's involvement with the Church of Satan. Could you cover it? I think it's important spiritual significance. No, you're right on the money. It's just long. So I would love to look at it, and I'll do that on tomorrow. I will, I promise. What we got here? Thank you so much for the 5. Shout out to the best live chat. Absolutely. There we go. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for hopping in and popping in. Are my friends coming on or not? I don't think they're coming through. That makes me a little bit sad. I mean, one said that they don't like me. The other one said that I only got 2 brain cells. That's kind of painful. That's kind of harsh. Okay. I mean, coming from somebody whose name looks like a cuss word, I mean, that's kind of serious. That means a lot. Okay, looking at what's going on in the best live chat on the internet. Jason, can you show the other story box 8 tactics of Candace? Some reason or another, I felt like that video, we had seen that one. I felt like it wasn't a new video for some reason. Here, let me pull it up real quick, and then I promise. I know I keep saying I'm gonna end this, but y'all keep asking me these questions. All right, what we got here? Here, let's do it real quick. This is you know what it is? Okay. The reason I said the video looks familiar is because it's we did the What Do You Mean video. Yeah. Yeah, it's he's basically going over John's video from What Do You Mean? Great video, by the way. We've actually talked about it on this channel. Let me just double check. Has my friend decided he's gonna come in? All right. Well, I dropped the link. I can't do it again, just in case, Mon Chéri wants to jump up in here. I'm gonna drop it last time. Now they're not jumping in. Man, that's messed up. Well, thank you so much, Wing fan. I appreciate you. All right. Here, let's bring this in very quickly, and then we got to get this party going. What about the meet and greet? Oh, let me tell you about that. I will. I'll have that tell you about that in a minute. All right. Let's get this in. And that'll be part of how we end the show. There we go. All right. Let's get this in. This is Jay, again, Ding Batman. That's such a crazy name. Ding Batman, talking about what do you meme, John over at What Do You Meme. So let's bring this in. All right, Green Hearts in the chat when you can hear.
He does excellent work, and I want to give him props for doing such excellent work. And that is What Do You Meme? If you haven't seen his channel, I definitely encourage you to do that. He has a very grounded, a very wise approach and a very biblical approach to all the videos that he makes. And I highly appreciate all of his takes. I don't think I've found myself disagreeing with him too many times. I don't think, even once. I can't even remember a time that I disagree with him once. So there was a video that he did last year that was absolutely brilliant, and I didn't get around to making a video about it, but it had to do with the 5 tactics that Candace Owens uses to pretty much get away with her whole stick or her whole lies. And I want to show you that video. And I wanted to add on, in light of recent events, I want to add on a few more other tactics that Candace Owens uses to get people to believe in her lies. I think it's important that you all understand this. As I've made, I don't know how many videos now on Candace Owens, I think, considering that I have pretty much studied her behavior and looked at a lot of the things that she said and done, I mean, I think it's quite evident to point people to these particular tactics. And I also want to show you my mate Wolfie on X. You can go and follow him there if you like, but he's done some brilliant work in breaking down the Candy Owens insane theories, right? So here is the first page. This is just the first page. It is huge. If you want to see the full thing, then I'll link it in the show description over on my X account, because I shared it over there, and Wolfie is also linked, so you can go check that out too. But he's done some brilliant work in dissecting every single one of Candy Owens's insane claims. And it goes back to one of the tactics that Candy Owens uses a lot, anomaly overload. So it all ties in, right? But you want to control the narrative as best you can. So share as much information as you possibly can in one episode, so people aren't able to really sit through and think through all of the crazy accusations or theories you've come up with in just one episode. It's crazy stuff, but she does it. It's one of her tactics. And there are 6 pages at the moment. Here is a second page. Honestly, you have all of the people that Candy Owens has accused. You have the Zodiac Killer, the French Legion, White Lotus, Andrew Colvert, Cabot Phillips, Erica Kirk and JD Vance, Romanian Angels, Operation Paperclip, Liberty University, Tulsa Turning Point USA's firings, Moon Inc., the whole list, man. Here is the third page. Falwell family, Liberty Lost, the military, Eastern Europe, the you-know-what trafficking, Operation Mocking Pastor, Trump pageantry. This is, I think, the fourth one. You have the Dreams. You have Project Looking Glass, Turning Point Faith. You have drones, cease and desist letter, Erica Kirk, Robert Flood, Bill Montgomery, Frank Turek, Lyle Reams, SOS Liberty, And it just keeps on getting worse and worse every single week. So Wolfie initially came up with, I think it was only 1 or 2 pages, and then it just exploded from there. Like the first page, I think every single page is brilliant, but you go through all of them and underneath, so you've got the titles of each, and then you got underneath them the subheadings, what they have to do with, like all tying into each other. It's brilliant work. So I don't know. I don't think Candy watches this. I don't think Candy follows me on X. I don't even know if she's aware of me. That's beside the point. But Candy, Wolfie did an amazing thing. And if you're not seeing this, whoa. First and foremost, this is part of truth telling, laying out all of the claims that one has made and seeing whether or not she can actually remember her story. You know, as a tactic. So she will lay out her story. So lay out 1 fact, 2 fact, 3 fact, 4 fact that she thinks is a fact. And I would love for somebody to ask her if she can say it backwards. Because liars are very good at laying out the structure of a lie very easily. But then saying it backwards, they haven't thought that far ahead. They don't really know how to say it backwards or what they've said just a moment ago, right? It just completely escapes them. And liars are very, very good at lineal, straightforward. But backwards, back to forward, no way. They can't even do it. It's quite fascinating how the human brain works. And again, I said it in one of my other videos, but all you've got to do is watch Candy Owens' body language, her mannerisms, especially after she makes a point, right? Just watch it. Watch her facial expressions. Watch how she maneuvers things. Very clever what she does, except it's not when we know what we're looking for. So here is What Are You Memes video. It's about 12 minutes long, and then we'll go through some of the other tactics that Candy Owens uses. Have a watch of this.
Candace Owens might be one of the most persuasive voices online right now. What she's really doing, whether she knows it or not, is one of the most effective persuasion formulas on the internet. Her videos on Charlie Kirk's assassination have averaged millions of views, and Candace is incredibly good at one thing, making people feel certain without ever proving anything. So I sat through all 36 hours of her investigation so far, every clip, every theory, just to see what's really going on. And what I found were 5 tactics that make Candace Owens not just convincing, but dangerously persuasive. And once you see them, you won't be able to unsee them. Now, obviously, a lot of people feel deceived and gaslit by institutions, and in many cases, rightly so. But that's not the only thing going on here. If you've ever watched one of our episodes, you'll notice it immediately. The odd footage, the timestamps, things that don't line up, the screenshots that don't make sense, and the random people who suddenly seem suspicious. But she doesn't just give you 1 or 2 of these. Every episode, she throws out more than you can count. Nearly 15 in this video alone, sometimes over 20. In fact, I say that this is virtually the entirety of her episodes. She gathers anything that could look suspicious, even if it could be random or unrelated.
On 9/4, Akash Patel as far as November and December. Then we have Frank Turek on October 7th. Well, Megyn Kelly.
And with so many anomalies being introduced every episode, at least a couple of them will strike you as strange. And given the sheer volume of her claims, your ability to think carefully about any of them gets drawn out by the sheer number of them. By the time you start to think critically about one date, or rumor, or insinuation, she's already moved on to the next. So eventually what happens is you stop paying attention to the quality of the evidence, and you're overwhelmed by the quantity, leaving you to conclude that there's just simply too many strange things occurring for there not to be something more going on. This can be thought of as an anomaly overload. It's what happens when a flood of speculation starts to feel like evidence, and when the gaps in our knowledge become proof that something sinister is happening.
What's going on here? What are Egyptian military subcontractors doing in the middle of Provo, Utah on the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
And even though she hasn't proven anything yet, within one episode, you've already moved on from curious to convinced. And all she had to do was to keep asking questions.
The crime that you were not allowed to commit. Just asking questions.
Okay, but her asking questions is exactly what's in question. If you listen closely to her podcast, often she is just asking questions, but in a way where people hear much more than just a question. Sometimes she makes the implications clear, as she did when implying that Donald Trump was involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination.
I think it is a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics. And they just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? As soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you. There's no question. They killed you.
But most of the time, she stays just short of an accusation. Her questions are often laced with heavy inflammatory suspicion, framed as innocent curiosity, while implying someone's guilt or their hidden motives.
So what was the blue plane doing sitting on the tarmac?
That's what makes her question so powerful, because it gives her plausible deniability. If her theory collapses, she was just asking questions. But if it turns out to be true, then of course she was right all along. And that has a powerful effect on her audience. It's the way that she frames the questions that makes her audience hear them as evidence for a conspiracy. So she doesn't need to directly accuse anyone, because she sets it up so that way her audience fills in the blanks for her. But questions aren't evidence of anything sinister happening. When it comes to actual evidence, it's how she controls the evidence that's one of the most important tactics that she uses. Take a look at this tweet from Blair White saying that almost no one has proved Tucker or her wrong. And the reason people can say this with so much confidence is because of the way that Candace handles evidence.
And have it now on a very well-placed authoritative source.
To start, when it comes to a lot of her claims, we simply aren't able to verify if they're true or not. She often cites unnamed sources, and we have no way of knowing who they are, how reliable they are, or what they actually said. We just have to take her word for it. So when people say to prove her wrong, well, most of the time you can't, because she hasn't provided any evidence that she's right. Now, I'm not saying she's doing this, but in theory, she could just be making it all up. This is why the burden of proof always falls on the person that's making the claim rather than the person questioning it. Okay, but here's where things get even more challenging. Even when we do have direct evidence showing that she's wrong, it still doesn't count. I mean, take a look at what she said about Netanyahu's letter from Charlie Kirk.
He is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the content.
Now, this is a common power move. She forces Netanyahu to choose between 2 options. He can either release the personal letter to the public or keep it private and look guilty. And when the letter was released and it confirmed exactly what Netanyahu said, it didn't seem to change her mind. In fact, this is the same tactic that we see over and over. She demands evidence, and if you don't give it, then you're hiding something. But even if you do give it, it doesn't disprove her claim. Instead, she treats the evidence as suspicious or even as more proof of a cover-up. So either way, she wins, and that makes it almost impossible for our audience to recognize when she's been proven wrong. In addition, remember when she said this about Bill Ackman blackmailing Charlie?
You're not going to gaslight us and tell us to shut up or call us anti-Semitic for pointing out the fact that Charlie was having a change of heart about the tactics that Israel was using in America, and that he felt when he had left that meeting that he had effectively been blackmailed.
But just 3 days later, when Bill Ackman denied it, she said,
okay, buddy, I never said you blackmailed Charlie. I asked you if this moment happened.
So notice how she shifted the claim and then frames him as the liar. And that's what we really see going on here, because the way that she gets you hooked is not in the evidence she presents, but in how she frames the evidence. You see, at core, humans are emotional beings and we respond strongest to emotional arguments. And on social media, nothing spreads faster than moral outrage. It gives us a sense of righteous anger, the feeling that we're on the side of good and standing against evil. And this is something that Candace has nearly mastered, because in every episode, she leans into moral outrage, not just about what happened, but about why more people aren't as angry as she is. And she regularly questions anyone that isn't digging into the case the way that she is.
We all feel that something is spiritually wrong, and yet these people are trying to tell you that there's nothing to see here.
Okay, but if you pay close attention, you notice that she isn't just assuming the very thing that she hasn't proven, that Tyler Robinson wasn't the shooter. She's also treating disagreement with her as a moral test. In her framing, if you disagree with her, you're not just wrong, you're morally wrong. Or worse, morally compromised. People are afraid to disagree with her, not only because they're worried about being attacked by her and her fans, but they'll also be painted as immoral, naive, or corrupt. So whether she intends it or not, she creates a powerful good versus evil dynamic. And that's why any disagreement that me or others have with her instantly turns into accusations that we're somehow being paid $7,000 by Israel. In their minds, the only reason that you disagree with them is because you're part of the conspiracy. You'll notice that she doesn't just argue a case, she creates a cause. And the result is what we see today. A fierce and growing community which keeps her audience loyal, even when she has nothing more to go on than a gut feeling.
I don't know, but I know.
And this is when we get into another powerful tactic, spiritual attacks. Lately, she's moved a lot of her attention over to the Christians who don't agree with her. And one thing that she really doesn't like is when Christians use scripture to point out what's wrong with what she's doing, as she made clear in her response to Frank Turek.
Then we have Frank Turek, who engages in this same sort of act of psychological manipulation, in my viewpoint. And he defends Mikey McCoy. I think this is on his own show. Here's what he had to say.
There's a difference between a possibility and evidence for a possibility. You can speculate on anything you want, but unless you have evidence, shut up, okay? Because all you're doing is causing dissension among the brothers, which is something the Lord hates.
So the clip goes on, but she not only labels his correction as psychological manipulation, she escalates it by calling his argument a form of spiritual deception.
The other thing he's doing, of course, is the biblical manipulation, which seems to me to be that there has been a military infiltration into the churches. I think we've covered that enough this year. I've termed that Operation Mocking Pastor, where they just try to find some scripture and justify it. And he's a pastor, he's earned trust. So he's saying she's judging people. The Lord says this. The Lord says she shouldn't look into the trial. The Lord says she shouldn't ask questions. The Lord thinks that people should just shut up, right? That to me is like the sickest form of manipulation. The sickest form of manipulation is to try to present it via the lens of what God would want. You don't have to do that. Just say what you think, say what you mean, and try to manipulate people the old school way, okay?
Now, this has become more of a pattern because even more recently, she not only dismissed Ali Beth Stuckey's scripture-filled critique by calling her Christianity fake, but even worse, Candace doesn't seem to mind appealing to God in the Bible when it suits her case.
There's no justification. There definitively cannot be any godly justification for what they have done and what they have always done in Gaza. Once you recognize the people defending that beyond this, you will start to look at them as possessed by some sort of a demon. And typically that demon is just money. Okay. They just want the money. And the Bible is explicit about that, right? You can't have both. And like I said, God's chosen people do not endorse that. In fact, only Satan chosen people could.
So she does seem comfortable using religious language in scripture as a way to give her claims spiritual weight, while discrediting Christians who do the same when they reach different conclusions. And here's where it gets even more concerning. Listen to how she uses spiritual language here.
I am begging you all, those of you who go to these mega churches, those of you who are evangelical, who follow these evangelical influencers, you are probably noticing about now that they are mum on the topic of Charlie Kirk. They want to move on. They want to let it be known that it's just a trans shooter. Not one of them is standing up and going, no. I spiritually feel that something is wrong. We all feel that something is spiritually wrong. And yet these people are trying to tell you that there's nothing to see here. That needs to be your wake-up call.
So first, he treats her instincts as spiritual signals from God. And second, anyone who doesn't share those instincts is framed as spiritually blind or spiritually compromised.
They are asking you to set aside your instinct, your gut instinct, your God instinct. You recognize something is wrong.
However, this is ironic given the thousands of comments that people have left on my videos saying that they did trust their spiritual instincts and it led them away from Candace. They felt like something was off in their spirit, and not with the people that she critiques, but in the way that she's been approaching things lately. And by the way, if you felt that too, if you believe that something in your spirit is being unsettled by what she's been doing, go ahead and write it down below in the comments. And not to attack.
So the anomaly overload is when you have a flood of speculations, start to feel like evidence. So for Candy Owens, it's I know, this sort of stuff. I've got a gut feeling, or I've had a dream. She has way too many speculations or accusations she's throwing out there. So one has to try their very best to go over all of the accusations or the thoughts that she is putting out there, right? And for a critical thinker going, well, this is just way too much. Like, I can't keep up with all of these. What the hell's going on? That's an anomaly overload, right? And she does it all the time. Then there is the just asking questions. These are from, obviously, What Do You Mean? I'm getting to the other ones in just a moment. The just asking questions category. Oh, we're going to frame this as I'm just asking a question. And as Ben Shapiro quite oftentimes goes, you're not just asking a question if you're not really looking for an answer. Because we know Candy Owens is never really looking for an answer. Even if there is an answer given, she don't care. It's like the anomaly overload of all of the questions that she is asking are way too much. She's not really seeking any answers. And the answers that she does get, she hates, and then she moves on to another thing, another accusation. It's like, I'm just going to keep on moving on and hope that people will forget and not keep me accountable. It's exactly what she did with Fort Ashoka, Egyptian plains. She'll bring it up every once in a while to say that she's got a new theory here and there. It's how she works. Then you control the evidence, except she doesn't have any evidence. She'll throw out a text message here and there, but that's not really evidence, is it? That's speculation. You have lots and lots of speculation. You have lots of text messages that are really old but don't really add up to any real evidence that could be used in a court of law to prove someone guilty or whether or not they're innocent. And unfortunately, for lots of critical thinkers that point this out, for the dingbat crowd that love to just ask questions and control the evidence and do the anomaly overload, guess what? Controlling the evidence is all they've got. Because if they don't control the evidence, they've really got nothing. All they've just got is mere hearsay. And they know that. But they want to control the evidence and then claim to be the victim thereafter when the evidence is not proven as actual evidence, right? It's just, I've said this, or I've seen it, but we haven't actually seen it either. She's yet to provide any real evidence at all. Use moral outrage or control the moral outrage. She's very good at doing that, isn't she? Then you have spiritual shifting. So the whole Christ is king narrative. Or we have people that are using, for example, she goes after Alibeth Stuckey. She'll use that to her advantage and say that people are spiritually shifting things. Or she is trying to say that Alibeth Stuckey is using God in vain or using God in the wrong kind of way. She's not really a Christian, but Candy somehow is. When Alibeth uses scripture to back up what she's claiming, Candace takes offense to it. And so she'll shift the spiritual narrative so that makes Alibeth look like she's the bad one and props up Candace. And so when Candace uses scripture to her own advantage that she twists and manipulates, it makes her out to look like she's good, and Alibeth and anyone else who uses scripture being bad. And that's wrong. Now here we go with the other tactics that I have seen over a number of months. We have the blame game and the gaslighting game. We have always she passes the blame on to somebody else and then gaslights the living hell out of people to make you think you are actually crazy. Then we have the victimhood claiming. So not only do we have the blame, but then we have victimhood come right after. Oh, woe is me. Notice how that is a trend. And then I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Direct, utter confidence. I did not say that. Even if you prove that she has said it, she'll say that I didn't say it. Trying to deflect. We call that deflection, right? Then we have the final one, lie, 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 and lie some more. The more you lie and the more lies you have, the more people are going to believe those lies, okay? The more lies that one has, the less likely someone is going to go, well, she lied about this. What else is she lying about? No one's really going to think too deeply about that because they don't really care. She's got more lies that sound like truths. The more lies that she comes up with, the less likely she is that she's going to be found out, right? That's at least what she thinks. More lies equals for her a safety net. So the more lies that she has, even though they're huge lies, she thinks that she's going to escape accountability, because no way can we all just go down and debunk all of her lies, which we have done, even though there's heaps of them based on the Wolfie charts he's come up with. All of them are lies, and then you got like half truths in there. Things that she is making accusations of, but not really proving them right. And now she's got 2 massive lawsuits, one with France and one with Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk. If she continues down this path, it's not going to look good for her. And you want to have her sicko fans gaslight us all and say, this is the year of Candy Owens. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. So hopefully this video has been a help for all of you guys. And maybe someone that is a fan of Candy Owens has seen this and gone, well, Jay, you actually make a little bit more sense than what Candy does. And so I'm going to follow what you've had to say and be free of the Candy cult. Oh, that's probably like tactic 10. Be the cult leader. Be persuasive, and charismatic, which she no doubt is. She has the ability to persuade, to be sort of charismatic. That controls the narrative. And anyone that says like anything bad towards her, she'll get angry and she'll attack you and try and destroy your life. But it's to her own detriment at the end of the day. It's not gonna hold up. It's not gonna keep going as much as she hopes that it will. Anyway, that's enough from me. But you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Thanks, Jay. That's Jay from Storybox. I appreciate him. And that was a good video. That was a good video. I'm glad that we took the time to watch it. Okay, I got to get ready to go to get dinner going. So guess what I'm going to do? We're going to wrap up. This is going to be the last one. Y'all, thank y'all so much, everybody who tapped in. But I guarantee you'll like this last one. Lots of you, I've seen people ask about it already. So we give the people what they asked for here at the Jay Witt Podcast. Just do me a favor, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, please make sure you hit the like button. Even if you didn't like it, if you're a member of Cantifa and you didn't like it, hit the like button 3 times. That's all I ask you to do. Just hit it 3 times. And then also, if you're not a subscriber, and if I've earned it, could you go ahead and subscribe? There you go. That's my 2 ask. And I have a great video for you to end the night with as I get ready to go get dinner ready. So with no further ado, cease and desist. Let's go.
Hi, I'm a lawyer. Welcome to episode 19 of Law for All. This episode, we will cover cease and desist basics. A cease and desist letter is a formal written notice requesting someone stop an activity. The cease part means, hey, stop that. And the desist means don't do that anymore in the future starting now. In most cases, A cease and desist letter is not a court order. It is typically sent by an attorney and identifies the conduct at issue, the legal basis for the claim, and the requested action. For instance, off the top of my head, if a former company or corporation that you conducted business with asks you to stop making public insinuations, allegations, or dream interpretations of conspiracies to kill or cover up the killing of an employee, the correct way to ask them to stop would be through a cease and desist letter. Receiving a cease and desist letter does not necessarily establish liability. However, continuing the conduct, or double downing as we lawyers say, would be ill-advised, or as you laymen say, I know. Ya know?
Disclaimer, this is not legal advice. Always seek counsel from personal attorneys. Always blame interns for bad legal moves. Dreams are not admissible in court. Doubling downing may or may not be a real term. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a former bowling shoe salesman now addicted to collecting vintage Victorian dolls. This entire video has been a bath salt-induced hallucination. Not legal advice. Again, not a real lawyer.
I don't understand. Where has this Daily Wire been? This Daily Wire is the Daily Wire we have been needing for I don't know how long. They need to be doing this more often. I'm going to say it again. Daily Wire, especially as we get ready to go into March, I think Daily Wire should put out an all call and just accept contributions of these funny videos from the audience. I think it would be killer. And literally going into March, let's say they have 16, like every week they could come up with a new category. So you could talk about dreams. So the next one is time travel. Next one is communist bees. And another one is maroon shirts, right? So that could be all of February. Going into March, you streamline it down to the 16 best videos, and you just put them against each other like a little bracket. It would be crazy funny. I'm sorry. I think Daily Wire should be doing that. I think they should be doing it all the time, because this right here is exactly what we've been needing. That kind of, we don't care. We're going to make fun of you. We're going to, the whole little horse thing, the whole don't know, but you know. I mean, they're just right on the nose. They're right on the button. I think Daily Wire should be putting these out. I'm sorry, every day, twice, 3 times a day. They should be doing it until further notice. We're just going to keep mocking you until further notice. We have nothing. No. And then crowdsource it. Just let the audience do it. Y'all got other things that you're doing. You got other programs that you're running. Just put it out there and receive them in the email. Some will be good. Some will not. Then you can have like a whole cutting room floor. These are the ones that we didn't think would make it. And people can watch that part of the channel or a playlist. And then, I'm sorry, they could be doing this and it could be crazy. Right. I mean, they could literally just, and just put it out there and just keep making fun of them. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for rocking with me. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Tomorrow, we will do the Peters video. I think she's going to go live tomorrow, but I'm looking at the weather. It's still supposed to be pretty bad up there. There's a lot of people in Nashville that don't have power. So if she's falling in that range where she don't have power, probably doing a show, it might not be on her on her gotta-do list. So I'm going to say she might not do a show tomorrow, but if she does, we'll be here for sure. But we'll go through, and I got tons of other videos we can go through as well. I promise you, we probably won't start with Star Trek tomorrow. Maybe, but it is what it is. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Thank you so much to the moderators. Thank you to everybody who's just kept the best live chat going. Thank you so much to the very kind supers. I think I tackled them all. I did not get this one. Thank you for doing this live. I'm in Massachusetts, and we got 20 inches and still snowing. That's crazy. Y'all stay warm up there. Wings fan, thank you so much for the $5 super. And as well, thank you so much to JD Wealth. Weatherfly is a brand new member. Shout out to you. I want to say thank you to the very kind supers. Thank you to all of you all for rocking with us. This was a lot of fun. Again, I'll be back tomorrow. I do have a video, my answer to the video about Riley Gaines, if you're interested in what I said as it relates to it was God's will that Charlie Kirk died. people just did not seem to understand what I was saying. Maybe I wasn't clear. So anyway, that video is coming up. It's going hot at 9 o'clock. You want to check it out. I'll try to be done. Maybe I'll be in the comments section as well. Everybody, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all. Please make sure you tip your waiters on the way out the door. Green hearts on the way out the chat. Thank you so much. I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.